All right, I hereby call this meeting to order at 6:04 p.m. Pledge of Allegiance, Vice Chair McClellan.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now the national anthem by Vice Chair McClellan. Thank you, Vice Chair McClellan. Roll call and verification of quorum, LJR Chair Urea.
Mole, Podier, Kira,
Here.
McClellan,
Present.
Millington,
Present.
Richard,
Present.
Temple, Caldwell,
Present.
Robbins,
Present.
Spalding,
Present.
Castillo,
Present.
Parmar,
Present.
Wynn,
Present.
Simcoe, Wanjin,
Present.
Domino,
Present.
Foster,
Present.
Galloway,
Here.
Custis,
Here.
Beaumont, Becerra,
Present.
Gale,
Present.
Yalamanchili,
Present.
Samuel,
Present.
Demarla,
Here.
Patel,
Here.
Uchoa,
Here.
Harrell,
Present.
Borges,
Here.
Almanar,
Present.
Anderson,
Present.
Castellan, Sabula,
Present.
Hall,
Here.
Holmes,
Present.
Huerta,
Present.
Costas,
Here.
Martin,
Present.
Salerno,
Present.
Sacedo,
Present.
Tache.
Here.
All right, 39 out of 43 quorum is verified.
Thank you, Chair Urea. Chair Temple. Chair Temple.
Present and voting.
So noted at 6:09 p.m. Anyone
Sorry
else
about
present and voting? Seeing none. Approval of the minutes. Take a look at last week's minutes and I'll take a motion. Chair Hall.
Motion to approve last meeting's minutes.
There's been a motion to approve the minutes. Any objections? Seeing none, I'll take that as general consent. Minutes stand approved. Approval of the agenda. Take a look at tonight's agenda and I'll take a motion. Foster.
Move to approve tonight's agenda.
There's been a motion to approve the agenda. Are there any objections? Seeing none, I'll take that as general consent. The agenda stands approved. Open forum. Any non-senators wishing to speak during open forum? Seeing none, announcements from the student body president, President Lopez.
Good evening, Senate. Please, excuse my lengthy announcements, so I apologize in advance for that. But this week, the Board of Trustees approved the funding of a new nursing school. So this facility will be built in the Lake Nona area, so right next to our medical school. So that's very, very exciting. Our nursing students will have greater facilities, greater access to resources, and essentially we want to be really the leading push in Florida for the nursing shortage and to be able to provide that the nurses for Florida. So this SG Welcome Week is something new that we're doing this year. It's going to be the second week of school. You will be provided with an in-depth detailed email soon to come. So just an overview of events. Monday is going to be Meet Us Monday. Essentially, it's going to be tabling. We're going to be outside handing out water bottles to students, really just showing face. So that way students know who we are. They're able to familiarize themselves with us. We chose the second week strategically just because the first week can be a little bit overwhelming because quite literally every department, every RSO, everyone is doing things the first week of school. Second week of school, it dies down a little bit. And then that's when they can be student government. So Tuesday will be Tour SG Tuesday. It will be similar to what we did last year with the SG open house. So branch heads, I'll be reaching out to you within the next week so that we can schedule that. They'll have the ability to learn about each different branch of student government, learn about SGLC, and then there'll be a welcome back raffle basket raffle. So in order to be entered into the raffle for that basket, you have to attend Tour SG Tuesday. Then Wednesday is going to be Commuter Student Appreciation Day. We're going to table near some of the garages and hand out free lunch to commuter students. So that way, when you're commuting, it's hard. Sometimes you don't know if to bring food or not. You can be here for long periods of times just because on average, most commuter students, they are here and schedule their days to be jam-packed. So that way they're commuting less frequently throughout the week. Then Thursday is going to be Help Us, Help You. It's going to be another tabling day. We're going to have a suggestion box, Post-it notes, a big whiteboard, and that's just for you to share your concerns with student government. What do you want to see from student government? How can student government help you? And again, just more tabling, more us showing face, showing that we are here for the students. That way the students get to understand and know who we are. And then Thursday is going to be Hammock with Student Government over in Hammock Island in Memory Mall. We're going to be renting the hammocks from the RWC, providing that to students, having chips, drinks, just an opportunity, a laid back opportunity for you to get to know your student government agents. And then I apologize, I've been saying this all wrong. That is going to be on Friday. And then Saturday is going to be an SG cookout over at Lake Claire. So we are going to be catering 4 Rivers. We're going to also have vegan options, burgers, your typical barbecue foods. And then that's just going to be again, another opportunity for you to get to know us, have fun with student government. Also an opportunity for first year students on campus to meet other students, since it's going to be the second Saturday of the week, and they may not have much to do, plans. Well, we're going to give them plans, somewhere to go. And then we're going to be doing a t-shirt giveaway. The vision for the t-shirt is going to be just different areas like campus. So the stadium, reflection ponds, Nitro, the water tower, all like drawn out. And then in the center, I'm home. Really the whole point of this week is to make students feel at home, feel that they can trust us, be with us, live, love, laugh, UCF. So that is SG Welcome Week. Like I said, as we get closer to the dates, volunteer signups will be going out. You'll all be getting an email with all the in-depth information. But moving on from that, we do have Texas Tech in the back. So everyone say hi to Texas Tech. They came by today to visit our university. They are part of the Big 12 conference that we'll be entering next year. So they came by, got to meet some of the cabinet members. We toured the RWC, toured the stadium and the athletics facility, and now they're here watching Senate and seeing you all hard at work. So please be nice to them, be respectful to them. If you ever get a chance to interact with them, say hi. They've all been really nice and we really appreciate them coming out to visit us today. So next, Cabinet yesterday had the opportunity to meet with UCFPD, Victim Services, and the Emergency Management Facility. We were really able to see all of the safety efforts that PD and their all of their departments are doing for us, so that way we can better serve the students and let the students know what they're doing for us. Next, Cabinet this week also had a workshop with CAPS. CAPS provided us a workshop with how to deal with burnout. That was something that ended up being really beneficial to everyone on Cabinet. So if you haven't attended one of CAPS's workshops, I highly encourage it. If that's something that you all want to do, please reach out to our Director of Student Affairs, Regad. She was the one that set that up for us, and it was a really amazing workshop. It's going to definitely help prepare us moving into the fall semester. And then lastly, I have a list of appointments. So starting with the Executive Cabinet appointments, I hereby appoint Jade Collins to the position of Diversity and Inclusion Coordinator, Courtney McLean to the Governmental Affairs Coordinator, Paola Albuquerque to Graphic Design Coordinator. And for the Election Commission, I hereby appoint Patrick Burnett to seat 8. And then once again, one final note with Executive Cabinet appointments, regardless of the outcome of confirmations, we will not be reopening applications. So if the appointee doesn't get confirmed, doesn't get the position, we will just be redistributing and reallocating the responsibilities within the Executive Cabinet. So if anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions for President Lopez? Seeing none, thank you, Danielle.
Thank you all.
Announcements from the student body vice president, none. Comptroller's report.
Hi, everyone. The last finance committee meeting will likely be towards the end of the month. I'll update you in more details when I'm feeling a little better. The CRT current account balance is $293,261.71. The reversion rate is 10.342%. The FAO current account balance is $101,577.67, with a reversion rate of 14.786%.
Any questions for the comptroller? Seeing none, thank you, Stephen. Cabinet forum, Attorney General Moore.
Hi, Senate. So the opinion on presidential appointments to interim positions was posted in the Student Government Office a couple of days ago, and it should also be on the website soon. And then this afternoon, I also published the opinion on public record exemptions under the Sunshine Law. So it's also up in the office and hopefully will be on the website shortly as well. And then there's currently only one more outstanding opinion request that I have already started. So hopefully that'll be finished early next week. And here again is the form to continue requesting opinions if you need to do so. I also just wanted to mention that some requests are going to be just handled informally through just an email or a conversation if they don't warrant a full opinion, but I will reach out to those people if that happens shortly after they submit the request so that they'll be aware that that's what's happening with their opinion. Other than that, I've been continuing to advise students that are going through the confirmation process with ENA and Senate to just help them understand procedurally, like what to expect walking into these meetings, as well as where to find more information about their jobs and update them about statutes and which statutes that they should look at and all of that kind of information. And as far as the opinions go, for the just holdings on what I found in those opinions for the opinion on presidential appointments to interim positions, essentially, the opinion says that presidential appointments to interim positions are not required to go through ENA and Senate, that confirmation process, as that would kind of just defeat the purpose of it being interim. So interim positions are there because they're urgent and need to be filled. So they would bypass the normal confirmation process that any other appointee would go through. And then as far as the opinion that I published this afternoon on public record exemptions under the Sunshine Law, I found that with the content of the law coupled with a lack of exemptions in our current statutes for informal investigations, even if confidentiality was promised to people going through an informal investigation, the results in the documents collected through that investigation would remain public record. And that's it for me. Thank you, guys.
Any questions? Any questions for the Attorney General? Tache and then Voorhees.
So are you gonna give people new guidelines and advice on how to, talk about whether or not something will be confidential? Because like, I don't want people still promising confidentiality if you're saying that that doesn't really exist.
Yes, so one thing that I am working on putting together is some kind of like pamphlet or educational materials that will be distributed to all student government agents that'll go over Sunshine Law. I do want to mention that the type of investigation that was taking place was one in which the person conducting the investigation had admitted that this had really not been done before. They're just kind of doing an informal investigation to how I guess they saw fit and then promised confidentiality, but it was never like written in statutes or within anywhere in the Sunshine Law that is something that legally or under our statutes you could do. But I'm definitely working on materials to make that clear so that we can avoid those kinds of issues in the future. And it's also detailed within my opinion as well.
Voorhees.
Yeah, so you said there's only one outstanding opinion, but I submitted a request. I don't know if you saw that.
Yes, I did. So I was going to get back to you on that, but that's probably just one that I'm going to handle informally with you through conference meeting or just through an email.
Any other questions for the Attorney General? Seeing none, thank you, Caitlin. Announcements from the Chief Justice. Chief Justice Kara.
Okay. Hello, everybody. First off, shout out to our Texas Tech people in the back. I was actually born in Lubbock, Texas, near Tech, so I think it's cool that we can have you guys here and check out, share ideas and all that kind of stuff. So as far as my announcements go, as soon as I remember where my place was. So our retreat for judicial for the summer will be next Thursday from 10 to 4:30. It's going to be in Student Union Room 219. So feel free to stop by and say hi. We're going to have Dr. Satcher, Interim Assistant Dean from Undergraduate Studies, come by to clarify some updates on grade appeal procedures and advising. Basically, we just kind of want to get some more clarification just because grade appeals are written and you don't get that like formal face-to-face meeting until you get to the upper levels. So we just want to kind of be able to clarify how to let, advise students to best be able to write those to convey exactly what's going on. And then we'll also be having Tracy Saunders from Parking Transportation come over to go over the changes in parking regulations. As many of you guys may know, we're moving to a different system this year. So your license plate will be your permit instead of your actual permit. And then also just shout out to Justices Ronaldo Morales Cruz and Kennedy Ray for attending the College of Arts and Humanities Introductory Dean meeting. And then shout out to ELA Galloway for working to get everyone involved. I'm excited to see more justices get involved with that. So yeah, I could take any questions.
Any questions for the Chief Justice? Seeing none, thank you, Sage. All right, announcements from the Supervisor of Elections, none. Announcements from the Activity and Service Fee Committee Chair, none. Announcements from the Scholarship Committee Chair, none. Announcements from the Senate President. Hello, everyone. Once again, shout out to Texas Tech, but also shout out to the Senate President of Florida State University, who's also sitting in the back here. So everybody wave hello. All right. Going into some not so fun stuff, dismissals. Senator Castillo has been dismissed from the Hispanic Latinx Caucus. Absences. Senator Huerta has 2 absences. Senator Martin is at 2 absences. Senator Castellan is at 1.5 absences. And Senator Tache is at 1.5 absences. 10 measures were drafted this week. Obviously, since we don't have a pro tempore right now, they went to my office for approval. 8 were approved by my office and 2 were adopted in committee. There will be a private yoga class on July 20th at 7 p.m. So if you're interested in going, let me know and I'll send you the details. Senate retreat will be next Saturday, July 23rd from 10 to 4:30. It'll be fully virtual. If you cannot make it, you need to submit an absence request to LJR, and LJR will determine the validity of the excuse. A resume workshop will happen tomorrow at 11 a.m. I will send a Zoom link to you all if you are interested in attending. There is a lot on the agenda tonight, so please remember to be respectful to one another, not only just tonight, but always. And lastly, the compliment form. If you wish to compliment another student government agent, you can use that compliment form. You can choose to identify yourself or keep it anonymous. Any questions for me? Foster.
Not a question, but move to miscellaneous business to see the reinstatement of Kevin Martinez.
I'm not going to see that. We're just going to go straight in the order of the agenda for tonight, since there's other business and miscellaneous business time as well. All right, any other questions? Seeing none, announcements from the internal legislative assistant.
Hi, everyone. So hope everyone's having a good Thursday. Flyers will be going out for SGLC in the residence halls, and I'm currently working with first year experience to get our freshmen involved in SGLC, see if they, if we can advertise to them. And hopefully next week we'll be meeting with all 3 coordinators, so that's super exciting. But I hope everyone has had a great week and a great weekend.
So sorry for that. Any questions for the ILA? Seeing none, thank you, Hannah. External legislative assistant report, Eli Galloway.
Good evening, y'all. College of Arts and Humanities had their summer dean introduction meeting last week, and it was a wonderful meeting. Next up, we have College of Medicine tomorrow. Next week, we have College of Health Professions and Sciences and College of Sciences will be meeting. We have 2 newly scheduled dean introduction meetings for the following colleges: College of Undergraduate Studies and College of Business Administration. If you are in COBA, please check your college GroupMe group chat. Reminder to keep checking your GroupMe group chats regularly for updates. As mentioned in Senate-wide, if any media agencies reach out to you, please inform me right away. Lastly, student government has the opportunity to table for orientation at 5:30 p.m. for 4 different dates. If you are interested, please fill out the orientation tabling sheet. The tabling dates are listed on the orientation tabling sheet as well. That's it from me. Thank you.
Any questions for the ELA? Salcedo?
Can you make the orientation tabling sheet accessible for editing? Because right now it's view only.
Yes, Vice President Martinez has the access to that, so I will get with her and make that accessible. For the meantime, if you want to shoot me a message on GroupMe or an email, so that way we could enter it as soon as possible, that would be great. Thank you for bringing that up.
Vice President Martinez is in the process of doing it right now. Also, if you do sign up for tabling and you don't have a Senate Polo, let me know. We have some extras. I'll go ahead and give you one. All right, any other questions for the ELA? Seeing none. Senate President Pro Tempore report, none. Deputy Pro Tempore of Legislative Affairs report, none. Deputy Pro Tempore, did I say Legislative Affairs or Senate Relations? I said it right, okay. Deputy Pro Tempore of Senate Relations report, none. Caucus reports, Asian/Pacific Islander American Caucus report, none. Black Caucus report, Chair Holmes.
Hi, everyone. So at our last meeting, we confirmed the details for our Black Business Month event. It will be held August 30th from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. in the Free Speech Lawn. And we're working with the Director of Communications regarding promotion and getting Black businesses to sign up. If you know any student-led Black-owned businesses that would be interested in participating in our event, please send them my way. And we brainstormed with Chair Tasha of the Disability Caucus on Sickle Cell Awareness Month. We have some really great ideas. He stayed for our caucus meeting to even help with us plan Black Business Month, and I really appreciated his presence. And then our walk-through night stop that was postponed, it will be next week, Wednesday at 3:30 p.m. And that is all from me. Thank you.
Any questions for Chair Holmes? Seeing none, thank you, Sierra. Disability Caucus report, Chair Tache.
Yeah, not much to report. We didn't meet this week. Next week, we're gonna elect a vice chair and set our priorities for the fall. It'll be our last meeting of the summer, as I won't be available the following week. But yeah, I'm excited for that next meeting to get us jump started for what's coming up.
Any questions for Chair Tache? Seeing none, thank you, Jason. Hispanic/Latinx Caucus report, Chair Salcedo.
Hi, everyone. Vice Chair Becerra and I attended the first Hispanic Heritage Month committee meeting, which is being led by the Multicultural Student Center. And then we are meeting tomorrow at 2 p.m. in the SG conference room.
Any questions for Chair Salcedo? Seeing none, thank you, Mel. LGBTQ+ Caucus report, Chair Yalamanchili.
We met today at 4 p.m. We talked about assisting women's caucus initiatives regarding contraception, as that is an issue that affects the LGBTQ+ community. We postponed vice chair elections to the next meeting because of a lack of a vice chair, and we discussed steps that the student government can take to reduce the prevalence of diseases disproportionately affecting the LGBTQ+ community. And this might not exactly be related to the work of the caucus in general, but happy Bastille Day to the people of France.
Any questions for Chair Yamajili? Seeing none, thank you, Vihan. Women's Caucus report, Chair Sabila.
Sorry, my dog. Hi, so Women's Caucus started a few initiatives regarding contraceptives on campus, drug testing strips on campus, the ones that you would like put in a drink, and also encouraging nightclubs and bars to have bystander trainings for employees. The latter two being initiatives I'm taking over from Speaker Custis. So thank you so much for her. They're really amazing ideas, and we're starting that, and I can't wait for the ball to get rolling. I don't think that's how you say it. Thank you.
Any questions for Chair Sabila? Seeing none, thank you, Larkin. Unfinished business, none. Fiscal Committee caucus time, none. CRT Committee report, Chair Borges.
Thank you. So in committee for old business allocations, we approved allocation 5462 with the vote count of 6-0. New business allocations, we postponed 5463. For bills, we approved fiscal bill 5404 with the vote count of 6-0. And for internal bills, we approved internal bill 5414 with the vote count of 6-0. So as I said, we saw 2 allocations. We passed an internal and a fiscal bill. We also approved our FAQ sheet. I'll be sending that to Yale Galloway soon. If you haven't done your FAQ sheets, you guys should. Ages assessment will be in Senate forum today instead of during this report. And then I have an announcement on behalf of fiscal leadership. So we're honestly in a huge transition period right now, fiscally. Nobody knows exactly what's happening or how to fix some of the problems we've already run into, but we're trying our best. Fiscal leadership will continue to meet and discuss with these issues with the comptroller and anyone else needed. With this being said, we may run into issues that have solutions unobtainable to fiscal leadership due to restrictions within Title VIII. When those issues arise, we may have to break Title VIII. We as fiscal leadership have decided to let all of you know that we would do our best. We cannot guarantee we do not break Title VIII. If a breakage occurs, we will bring it up in some form to all of Senate and then submit an internal bill to prevent a breakage from occurring again. Thank you.
Any questions for Chair Borges? Seeing none, thank you, Tyler. FAO Committee report, Chair Millington.
Hey guys, so we saw some allocations this week. We postponed allocation 5404, approved 5405, and PPI'd 5406. And then just to echo the sentiments of Chair Borges, the fiscal leadership team has unfortunately been placed in a position that may require us to break some parts of Title VIII, but everything that may be broken would be done so with the best intentions of our students in mind. And under the circumstances created by the new financial system, FAO has discussed this matter in committee, and I will continue to keep the committee, Senate, and student body informed on the matter.
Any questions for Chair Millington? Seeing none, thank you, Leslie. ORS Committee report, Chair Temple.
All right, hello there, Senate. So we saw 5 post-funding reviews, all of which were unfortunately postponed, 4 verification of purchases forms, 1 of which was approved, 3 were postponed, and passed 2 post-funding forms. We also elected a new FAO representative, so congratulations to Senator Borges. And once we convene in the fall, we will elect our CRT representative. You can see every fall we've seen in business. Scarlet snapshots will be seen in Senate forum tonight. And I also wanted to echo the sentiments of Chairs Millington and Borges. We in fiscal leadership have acknowledged that due to the current transition into Workday, we will have to break Title VIII a fair number of times in order to fund students and RSOs. This isn't intended to be a permanent matter, but when we recognize that should we break Title VIII, it is a necessary capacity in order to carry out our duties as fiscal leadership. Although this does not affect ORS nearly to the extent as it does CRT or FAO, the committee nevertheless acknowledges that such actions must be taken in order to benefit the student body. Also, happy Bastille Day to all those in France.
Any questions for Chair Temple? Seeing none, thank you, Ethan. Fiscal legislation, notice of legislation on first reading, none. Notice of legislation on third reading, none. Notice of legislation on second reading. Bills, Fiscal Bill 5404, funding for 13 members of the Human Factors and Ergonomic Society to travel to the Human Factors and Ergonomic Society annual meeting in Atlanta, Georgia from October 10th, 2022 to October 14th, 2022 by Senator Wanjin. Is there a motion for 5-minute speeches, 15-minute questioning, 15-minute debate? Any objections to that? Seeing none, Senator Wanjin.
I yield to the RSO representative.
Sorry, you'll have to give me 1 second and I will pull it up. No, you feel free to go up. It'll just take me 1 second.
Make sure to look at the document. I see 14 of you on it out of 40-something senators.
Yes, HFS.
And then there's actually a clicker on that podium, so you can do the back and forth yourself.
Okay, perfect.
I will, in 1 second, I'll share my screen so that everybody can see it.
Okay, sounds good.
You'll have 5 minutes when you're ready.
Okay. As soon as you share your screen, I'm good. All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Allison Garibaldi. I'm the current Vice President of the Human Factors and Ergonomics Society here at UCF. And I really thank you all for your time today as we propose our bill to attend the HFES conference in Atlanta, Georgia, coming up on October 10th. So I just wanted to start out with a big thank you for SGA support for us attending this conference in previous years. The conference has been virtual for the past couple of years, but as you see, we have a pretty long tradition of attending this conference, and we're really hoping to continue that tradition this year. So thank you in advance for your support. So a little bit about us. Most of us in the RSO are PhD students in the Human Factors and Cognitive Psychology program. What that essentially means is that we research the relationship between humans and technology. So our research kind of runs the gamut from human-computer interaction, human-robot interaction, virtual reality, basically anything that involves technology and humans. Those are the kinds of things we research. And the HFES annual meeting is actually the largest conference in our field. So most of the faculty from our program attend this conference and quite a few students as well. So in terms of what we'll be doing at this conference, our members will actually be receiving awards. So our student chapter is recognized by the national organization as a gold status student chapter. So we'll be accepting that award coming up in October. Most of our students are also presenting research or volunteering at the conference, which helps them offset some of the cost as well as attending lectures, workshops, and networking with both industry and academic professionals. So many of our students have developed academic collaborations with researchers at other universities as a result of attending this conference, as well as various job opportunities with industry professionals that we may not necessarily have contact with here in town. So in terms of benefits to the UCF community, this is a really good opportunity to sort of showcase UCF as a premier research university. So many of us will be presenting our own research there along with our faculty advisors. It's also, as I said, a great opportunity to network with industry and academic professionals from really around the world. And then finally, it also serves as really great promotion for our graduate program. So we have quite a few members who actually became interested in applying for this program after connecting with students and faculty at this conference. So all in all, it's a big benefit to UCF to have a nice presence here at this conference. So in terms of fundraising, many of our students have applied for the Graduate Presentation Fellowship. So if they're presenting research, they're likely to get some funding through that avenue. As well, our students have applied to be student volunteers to help sort of run the conference on the logistics side, and that helps offset some of the registration cost. And then our chapter also hosts a networking event each year that we attend the conference. So this is a good opportunity for our students to connect with other professionals in a more intimate setting. So this is the cost breakdown of the conference. So we are asking for registration, airfare, and hotel funding. Based on the meeting with the CRT committee yesterday, we did round up our flight estimate to $400 as the price is likely to go up by the time this bill is funded. So that is the cost breakdown. And I do have flight quotes, hotel quotes, and registration quotes at the end of this presentation if anyone would like to see them. But other than that, that is all I have for you all. So thank you for your time.
All right, we're now in line for questioning.
Do I just call on anyone?
No, I'll go.
Okay.
Chair Temple, then Salerno, McClellan, Salcedo to start.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Good evening. Very quick question. Are you aware of the post-funding process and all the steps you need to take after you have received and utilized these funds?
Yes, so all of our members who have agreed to be on this bill understand that they're responsible for providing receipts for airfare, lodging, hotel, and we are prepared as the officers of the organization to collate all of that information and provide it to you.
So, Salerno.
Hi, thank you for being here. So my question specifically, you spoke a little bit about the UCF networking event. Can you tell me more about that?
Yeah, so each year that we attend the conference, we try to host a sort of casual happy hour. We typically try to provide food and drinks, and the goal is that professionals from around the industry can come and interact with our students, chat with them. And so that's a great opportunity for our students to learn about job opportunities in the field that we might otherwise not have had a chance to. So it's basically kind of a casual happy hour sort of setting where everyone can chat and mingle and make connections.
McClellan.
My question just stems from on the registration. It's for 13 members, travels for 11. Could you explain that?
Yeah,
please?
so 2 of our members have elected to drive to the conference, being that it's in Atlanta. So we only included 11 members requesting travel funding.
Salcedo.
That was my question. Thank you.
Great. Now it's going to go Potier, Spalding, Borges, Parmar.
Yeah, present and voting.
So noted at 6:40 p.m. Senator Spalding.
Vice Chair McClellan asked my question.
All right, Borges.
This is a question for you, actually. Do you want me to give points of information on things that are already asked in committee or no?
It's fine. Anyone can read the minutes. But as we saw a few weeks ago, we allowed it, even if it was someone different. I'm okay with that. All right, Parmar.
Hi. So my question is, how do you think this conference will help your organization as a whole to get better opportunities or better ideas for research?
Yeah, so this is a really good opportunity to learn about research that is going on at other universities as well as in the industry. And typically our students are either presenting posters on their research. So anybody who's interested in talking about their research with them is welcome to come up and chat with them. And it's also a good opportunity for our students to attend other people's research and see what's out there. So just sort of speaking anecdotally, I've actually started working as a researcher for the Navy as a result of connections through this organization. So attending this conference is a really good opportunity for our students to connect with industry professionals, especially because most of us have our advisors there. So it's a good time for them to introduce us to people that they may know that have job opportunities available. And it's really great for our research as well, for us to be sort of in tune with what's going on in the field, as this is really the largest conference of the field.
Any other questions for the RSO? If not, I'll take a motion. Holmes.
Move to debate.
There's been a motion to go to debate. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we're now in debate. Becerra, Hall, Costas.
Yeah, I'm fully in support and I encourage the rest of the senators to vote in favor of this bill. The CRT committee definitely went over the numbers and they're all fine. And I believe this will be very beneficial for UCF and the students in the community. So.
Chair Hall.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's pretty dope. Particularly, I didn't even know what ergonomics was. I had to look it up myself. But kind of reading about it more and all that, y'all do pretty interesting work. I think that it's good for UCF, particularly where this is a more niche subject, but it's good for UCF to kind of take the time to invest in students with interest in things like this, because it puts UCF on the map. I think the math and everything looks about right to me. I don't see any problems, and I think that it'll be a pretty cool conference to see in person, since, as you stated, the last couple ones have unfortunately had to be over Zoom. So I know that interpersonal networking and all that's a lot better when it's, directly face to face. So I think that this is a good bill, and I think we should back it.
Costas.
Meritan.
You may.
Yeah, I think we should all vote in favor of funding this RSO. They check off all the proper boxes, and the work is niche, but it's very innovative and interesting. And I think it would bring some interesting ideas back to UCF. With that, move to vote.
There's been a motion to vote on fiscal bill 5404. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we're now voting procedures. With a vote count of 32 to 0, fiscal bill 5404 passes favorably on second reading. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you all for your time. I appreciate it.
Resolutions, none. Special acts, none. Internal committee caucus time, none. Internal committee reports, E&A committee, Chair Gill.
Hi, everyone. I hope everyone's having a great week. We had a great meeting this week in committee. All confirmations passed through ENA, so we'll be seeing them on the floor. Next week, we'll continue to see the new exec confirmations, EC confirmation, and continuing with Senate confirmations. I have linked and attached, as usual, the EC material for the one we're seeing Tamani Harris today, some questions, as well as the Senate material and Senate questions. And yeah, I will yield to any questions.
Any questions for Chair Gill? Seeing none, thank you, Daisy. DAP committee report, Chair Hall.
Yeah, hey everybody. Happy Thursday. We had a productive meeting yesterday where we passed our first resolution of the Senate in GAP by 8 to 0 to 1 vote. As well as I will just echo what ELA Galloway stated to please be sure to use that link if you're interested in helping with the voter registration for orientation, because the primary is coming up. So probably only one of those dates will actually be useful for the Florida statewide primary, but registering as many students as possible will help with the general election and making sure that as many of our knights that can vote are able to vote and exercise their right to vote. So I will yield for any questions.
Any questions for Chair Hall? Seeing none, thank you, Dylan. All JR committee report, Chair Urea.
Hey everyone, hope you had a great week. This week in committee, we approved 6 absences and passed resolution 5406. Also, just so you guys are aware, I'll be from Zoom, most likely from the last 2 meetings of summer, since I'm doing 3 jobs right now and I get off from 1 at 5. So if you need something from me before Senate, my best point of contact is going to be GroupMe or email. Also, if you see any issues with current statutes or rules and you want to talk about it, anyone is more than welcome to come to LJR. We love to talk about statutes. And also we're going to be doing document review of Title VII this week if anyone is interested in coming.
Any questions for Chair Urea? Seeing none, thank you, Brianna. SBA committee report, Chair Salerno.
Hello, everyone. I have a couple of updates for you all. Our flyer is finalized and is ready to be distributed. Coordinator Turner has been an incredible resource for this initiative, and thanks to her, we will have the flyer distributed periodically in our social media, as well as in the kiosk in the student union. We will also be physically distributing the flyer as soon as we get confirmation on where we can distribute them. I just wanted to make it a point too. Aside from our electronic form, we will also have a permanent quote unquote kiosk in the SG office for those who may require help filling out the form or may have a preference for a physical copy. Our committee has finalized the details for Gun Violence Roundtable. We will be hosting the safe space on September 6th from 2 to 4 p.m. Our committee has started the research and outreach for initiative to create a website for students who are parents. We will be meeting with the coordinator for non-traditional nights within the next 2 weeks. Shout out to Vice Chair Becerra for taking that project on. And then earlier today, Senator Moll and I met with Chief Metzger to discuss Resolution 5401 regarding the creation of an unarmed community response team. We will be releasing a debrief for the Senate floor next week.
Any questions for Chair Salerno? Parmar, then Hall.
My question is, you talked about the gun violence roundtable. Could you give some more details about what topics would you be covering or how you would be going about it?
Yeah, so the gun violence roundtable, the idea came from our committee members after the recent mass shootings that have occurred in our nation. We want to be able to provide a safe space for students to kind of converse about how they're feeling, about how we can help to make sure that we are providing a space where students can voice their concerns and maybe see how we can expand on advocating for a student body. We also have agreed to do also a partnership with a local mental health resource called Discovery Behavioral Health. They'll be doing the mediating for the roundtable because it is a heavy topic. We'll providing mental health resources, not only from the university, but our community as well. And at the end, there will be a call to action. Thanks to Chair Holmes, we have now secured a relationship with a organization specifically that advocates for gun reform. So we're just trying to provide a safe and brave space for students.
Chair Hall?
My only question is this planned event supposed to be in person or over Zoom?
In person. We spoke about having a Zoom option. We will be discussing if we're at capacity to do this after we have confirmed the mediator for this roundtable.
Any other questions for Chair Solano? Chair Holmes?
I'm so glad you got connected with Moms on Demand. But other than that, my question was, will there be an ability to volunteer? Because I'm not part of SBA, but I still would like to help you with your event in any capacity that I can.
Yeah, of course. So during this meeting, we discussed logistics, so room reservations, dates, targeting the best possible outcome for students since it is in the fall semester. One of the things that we'll be discussing next week is specifically the layout of the event, as well as how we're organizing it and who's going to be there. Obviously, we will be contacting UCF students thanks to actually Senator Almenar's survey. That question was intentional so that we do provide those resources for the students that asked for those resources. So once we hear back about the demand for the specific event, we will be figuring out the specific event details.
Any other questions for Chair Solano? Seeing none, thank you, Stefania. Confirmations, Chair Gull.
Hi, I think we need a motion first.
I'll make a motion. Is there a motion for 5-minute speeches, 15-minute questioning, 15-minute debate? Any objections? Seeing none, Chair Gull.
We will now be seeing the confirmation of Tamani Harris for the Election Commission seat 3.
Hi, everybody. I'm Tamani, and I'm a health science major. I'm hoping to one day become an athletic trainer, maybe study a little bit of law as, if I get farther into the health science major. I have worked with BSU, which is the Black Student Union. If you guys don't know, I have been the royalty dance troupe director, and our main goal was mainly to provide entertainment for BSU. And I was also a part of the election commission from the years 2020 through 2021. Unfortunately, I had to step away after that because I was not in person, unfortunately. But through years 2020 through 2021, it was amazing. Even though we had ups and downs, even though there were trials and errors, it was an amazing experience. And I really hope to do it again if you guys will let me.
We're now online for questioning. Senator Wanjin, then Chair Temple.
What would you do differently from the time that you have already spent as an election commissioner?
So from those years that I was an election commissioner, there were a lot of talks about bias and a lot of talks about we were preferring one candidate over another, so and so and so. But what I would do differently, honestly, is the reason that they thought there was bias is because they weren't present enough for the times that we were giving violations to the other team, just like we're giving violations to them as well. And if we were to make maybe everybody be mandatory for one candidate and the other, you have to be in those meetings, in those violation hearings so that you can see that we're not biased, that we give violations to everybody. It's not just this candidate, it's not just that candidate. If we can make that mandatory so that everybody can see that, then honestly, I feel like it would help a lot and the talks of bias would go down a lot more than they were that year.
Chair Temple?
Senator Wanjin answered my question, already asked my question, and Ms. Harris answered promptly. Thank you.
All right. Anyone else have a question for the candidate? If not, Foster?
So what made you choose Senate instead of going back to the Election Commission?
She's being confirmed for the Election Commission. All right, Sarah,
Maritine,
you may.
can you describe a time when you were unbiased?
Mhm. So when I was the royalty dance troupe director for BSU, there was, having a team of 14 girls and practicing all day and every day, trying to get routines down. There was a lot of conflict in the team, and that caused a lot of arguments. So being the director, I had to basically make sure that, okay, if you're having an argument, you're having an argument, you guys aren't working well together. My main job is to make sure the team is working as a whole. So if they aren't working together right, I would pull them aside and be like, okay, so what exactly is the problem? How can we solve it? So basically, they would tell me their side and I would listen to both. Even if I feel like one person is wrong, right, I can't base that off of my bias. I had to sit there and be like, okay, how can we fix it? So I did that multiple times. It worked a lot of the time. I think I'm very good at solving problems between people. So those times I was very, very unbiased, and that's what I feel like they appreciated me for. So yeah.
Move to debate.
There's been a motion to go to debate. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we're now in debate. Chair Hall?
I thought the nominee was great when we saw them in ENA. I think that they have a lot of good experience, both within student government and outside of student government. I think that the outside leadership roles that the nominee has undertaken within BSU are proof of the fact that they're going to be very effective as an election commissioner, as well as specifically having that election commission knowledge is going to be very helpful, especially when we have a lot of incoming election commissioners who've never done it before, that I think that they're going to be able to help help the other election commissioners get a hang of it and understand the ropes of it. So I think that the nominee should be confirmed.
Any other debate? Wanjin?
Yeah, I have to echo Chair Hall's sentiments. I think the candidate's experience is invaluable, especially with having actually been on the election commission during a time where they did see violation hearings, because I know the past year they didn't. Since the presidential race was uncontested, there wasn't really any issues. I would absolutely love to be able to discuss Title VI, since we are trying to find changes and that sort of thing with this candidate, because I think that hearing a perspective that we haven't gotten really so far would be amazing. I will be voting in favor of this candidate.
Are there any dissenting opinions? None. Chair Gell?
Move to vote on the confirmation of Tamani Harris for Election Commission Seat 3.
There's been a motion to vote on the confirmation of Tamani Harris for the Election Commission Seat 3. Any objections? Seeing none, we're now in voting procedures. With a vote count of 34 to 0, congratulations, Commissioner Harris.
Appreciate it.
Chair Gell?
We will now be seeing the confirmation of Amy Rhodes for Election Commission Seat 7.
Great. Amy, you'll have 5 minutes when you're ready.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Amy Rhodes. I am majoring in International Global Studies and minoring in Asian Studies. I was involved with the Multicultural Student Center, and I'm also president of the Peruvian Student Association for this year. I'm interested in the Election Commission because I want to get involved with student government, as they play a major role in providing resources to the UCF community. I also think that being a part of the Election Commission would provide me with good experience and skills necessary for future roles I take on, especially when entering the workforce. I'm interested in a career involving public policy, and governmental processes. Therefore, I feel that it would be an excellent opportunity for me to learn skills correlated to these subjects. My top initiative is to increase communication by updating the website and working with other departments to advertise the election. Thank you. I yield the rest of my time.
We're now online for questioning. Does anyone have a question for the candidate? Sarah, then Richard.
Hello. What motivated you to go for this position?
So I grew up in a very diverse area, and also I have a diverse background. So I've just been very interested in culture and community. And so coming to UCF and having to decide on what I was going to study, what my career aspirations were, I decided that I wanted to take on a position that would allow me to help communities, small and large. So I think that government really empowers people to do that. And I'd like to use that leadership opportunity and the privilege that I do have to help all of the communities that I can.
Great, Senator Richard, and then Chair Temple.
The candidate answered my question.
All right, Chair Temple.
It appears I forgot my question. Sorry, Madam Chair.
Great. Anyone else with a question? Temple,
I just never remembered. May I retain?
you may.
So do you intend to work with other branches within student government in order to help advertise the election?
That would definitely be a way to push my initiative. One thing I have been thinking about is kind of doing sort of coffee talks or things like that get the candidates and campaigners sort of exposed to the student body beyond just promoting it on social media. I think that having those types of interactions are super important to publicize and get the campaign, across.
Right. Thank you. And with that, move to debate.
There's been a motion to go to debate. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we're now in debate. Costas.
Yeah, I think this candidate is more than qualified, and I think they bring some good initiatives to the Election Commission. So I encourage all of you to vote in favor.
Chair Temple.
Yeah, I'm going to echo the sentiments of Senator Costas, and I would encourage my fellow senators to vote in favor of Ms. Rhodes, because not only the fact is she a big public policy, very interested in public policy, coming from me, I'm a major nerd in that area, but she also provides a lot of good initiatives as well. And I am really excited to see her in action should she be confirmed to the commission.
Any dissenting opinions? Seeing none, Chair Gall.
Move to vote on the confirmation of Amy Rhodes for the Election Commission seat 7.
There's been a motion to vote on the confirmation of Amy Rhodes for the Election Commission seat 7. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we're now in voting procedures. With a vote count of 33 to 0 to 0, congratulations, Commissioner Rhodes.
Thank you.
Chair Gall.
Move to table Caitlin Capozzi's confirmation and move to see Gina Heightskill for Senate Chip Seat 6.
You got to see the first one. So move to table Caitlin Capozzi's confirmation. There's been a motion to table Caitlin Capozzi's confirmation. Any objections? Seeing none, I'll take that as general consent. Chair Gall.
Move to see Gina Heightskill for Chip's Seat 6.
We're already there since it's next on the agenda. So if you just want to introduce the candidate.
Oh, we will now be seeing Gina Heightskill for Chip Seat 6.
Great. And Gina, you will have 5 minutes when you're ready.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for having me. My name is Gina Heitskill, and I'm a senior here at UCF. I'm majoring in kinesiology in hopes of becoming a physical therapist. I'm typically around on campus quite a bit since I'm a part of a couple organizations that we have on campus. One being the Undergraduate Physical Therapy Association, or UPTA, which is a bunch of students that all have a goal to become physical therapists in the future, and Good News Initiative, which is a club that we have on campus that is a Christian faith-based group that basically tries to serve the underprivileged population over in Venezuela by donating items such as shoes and clothes and food and stuff like that. And I was also an anatomy VTA in previous semesters. With that being said, I wanted to be a part of SBA committee because I feel like I would do a good job in representing the students firsthand, because I am going to be on campus quite a bit. On a separate note, I have a lot of initiatives and ideas that I love to achieve, but for the sake of time, I just wanted to cover one of them. So anybody that has plans to go beyond a bachelor's degree knows that there's a lot of boxes and a bunch of extracurricular activities that we need to check off and a lot of classes that we need. And in order to do that, we need to take those classes, obviously, as a bachelor in our bachelor's degree in order to apply for PT school or medical school or wherever we're going after that. But sometimes those classes that we need to take are not necessary for our bachelor's degree. So what I wanted to do was update the kinesiology catalog, because these classes do come up, and my firsthand experience was with biology too. I wasn't able to take it until my senior year, even though I took biology one my freshman year. So what I wanted to do was move this into a category on our catalog, such as our basic or more advanced level classes, so we have the option of taking it. Because right now we have to do what's called an override, and then that has to get approved, and it's kind of like a long process to get approved. And then after that, we have to wait until the Friday before our classes start in order to even be put into that class, and by then the entire class is full. So our whole chance of getting in is kind of slim to none, unfortunately. So if I can move this into, like I said, the basic or more advanced level courses, we can at least give students like myself and other students that have the same situation a chance to at least have the option to take that and to apply with that underneath our belt as we go on and continue our journey to our future careers. And with that being said, I waive the rest of my time.
All right, we're now in line for questioning. Does anyone have a question for the candidate? Sarah?
Hello. Do you intend to join in any caucuses for Senate?
As of right now, I am gonna say no, because I am kind of new to student government and I'm not entirely updated on everything, but I wouldn't mind joining anything like that if I was more informed and stuff like that.
Great, we're gonna go Castellan and then Spalding.
Hi, thank you for inviting.
So noted at 7:07 p.m. Senator Spalding.
Hi, thank you for being here. So Senate, it can be time consuming. So it's something that you have to dedicate like your schedule to, like you have to make your schedule for it. And you mentioned that you are involved in a couple of organizations on campus and things like that. So my question to you is, how do you plan to manage your time between classes and maybe work and Senate, and then also your other organizations that you are involved in?
Of course, yeah. So right now, both of my organizations don't meet up I wouldn't say that they meet up weekly, they more or less meet up monthly. In regards to my classes, it is my senior year, so I will be taking a lot less demanding classes. I'm actually taking 3 courses in the fall because I actually took 4 courses in the summer. So I'm actually gonna have a lot more free time than I thought I was gonna have. So I was like, I might as well just do what I've wanted to do since my freshman year, which was add such classes like this to the course catalog, because now I have the time and all the effort and energy that I need to devote to this project.
Senator Parmar.
What other initiatives have you thought about except the course one?
I'm sorry?
What other initiatives have you thought about except adding new courses?
Gotcha. So one thing that I wanted to do was also kind of extend a rate my professor. Instead of a rate my professor, it's more of a rate myology for students that are science related majors. It's basically the same thing as rate my professor, except it's through UCF. So instead of going on to Rate My Professor and seeing like a 50-50 shot of whether or not your teacher or professor is going to be on there, your professor's already going to be on there because he's registered or she's registered through UCF as a teacher. So they're automatically going to pop up. And then I also kind of wanted to incorporate a section onto that database where we can also see their syllabus if they were to actually upload their syllabus. So that way students in really, really demanding majors such as biomedical sciences or anything like that, because it is a demanding major, that way they can actually see what the course workload is going to be like before they get into the course. So that way they can actually plan ahead and strategically plan ahead and make sure that they're on time to graduate.
Salernos?
Hello. Do you have any initiatives that are university specific?
University specific. I want to say yes. I have a whole bunch of them listed out. I just don't have them in front of me right now. But yes, I probably do.
Any other questions for the candidate? If not, I'll take a motion. Becerra?
Move to debate.
There's been a motion to go to debate. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we're now in debate. All right, we're gonna go Parmar, Becerra, then Spalding.
Hey guys, so I'm really for this candidate. She looks like she has a lot of drive. About your question, I think the initiative about Rate My Professor could be a university-based initiative that was interesting. She also has a lot of ideas that she wants to work on. So I'm really for this candidate. Thank you.
Becerra?
I too will be voting in favor. I definitely like the candidates' initiatives and I am eager to help out as a fellow CHIP senator. So I will be voting in favor.
Spalding?
Hi, yeah, I just want to echo the sentiments of the previous two senators. I like her initiatives. I think that it's a great thing to do to strengthen her college. And I just look forward to what this candidate could do for the university as a whole. So I'm going to be voting in favor and I encourage you all to do the same.
Any dissenting opinions? Seeing none, Chair Gell?
We have to vote on the confirmation of Gina Heitskill for CHIP seat 6.
There's been a motion to vote on the confirmation of Gina Heitskill for the College of Health Professions and Sciences, Senate seat 6. Any objections? Seeing none, we're now in voting procedures. With a vote count of 33 to 0, congratulations, Senator Heitskill. Chair Gell?
Move to pick up the confirmation of Caitlin Capozzi from the table.
There's been a motion to pick up the confirmation of Caitlin Capozzi from the table. Any objections? Seeing none, take that as general consent. Chair Gell?
We will now be seeing the confirmation of Caitlin Capozzi for CCIE Senate seat 1.
You'll have 5 minutes when you're ready.
Okay, so my name is Caitlin Capozzi. I am currently majoring in legal studies, minoring in human services, and I am obtaining a certificate in individual liberties. I really strive in social and academic settings. So I currently work at a homeless outreach center located downtown, right next to the downtown campus. I wrote a law review article, which was published in UCF's undergraduate law review journal that emphasized all of the laws that were criminalizing the homeless that are all over downtown areas. I also have served as treasurer of PDP, which is a legal honor society, as well as become a member of First Generations Honor Society, Tri Alpha. Yeah, I believe it's Tri Alpha. And I just love being involved in the community. Up until this year, I haven't had the opportunity to dedicate the amount of time that I would need to into an organization like this. However, I believe I'm going to be going part-time in classes in the fall since I'm pretty much done with everything. And I really wanted to use that time to become part of student government. And I yield the rest of my time.
We're now in line for questioning. Chair Holmes, then Taché, Temple, Spalding.
Hi, thanks for coming. So how would you say your prior involvement, I guess, as an individual off or on campus has contributed to your, I guess, aspiration to be a senator here in student government?
Well, when I was looking into it, I saw the SBA committee, so the student advocacy, and I think that that's something that I really wanted to be a part of because when I first came to UCF, I was homeless. So UCF had given me free tuition. They have things like Night's Pantry, and a lot of those things are things that most students that are struggling with these issues don't really know about or don't take advantage of. So I saw that and I really wanted to kind of get involved and be somebody in student government who could kind of lead an initiative to make those things more accessible and known to the students who may not have the opportunity or the ability to do things beyond that.
Tashay?
Yeah, so before this session started, there was a task force on helping homeless students on campus. Would you be interested in kind of picking that back up and helping get that started again since it kind of fell off this session?
Yeah, that is something that I would be really interested in doing. Like I said, especially with the downtown campus, a lot of people don't even know about that campus. So I think that there are a couple of things that we could do to really kind of get the word out about, events going on the downtown campus, as well as helping those students who are struggling with issues like that to be more involved in those things.
Temple?
Chair Tache asked my question and the candidate promptly responded. Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right, Spalding.
Hi, so as a member of CCIE and a legal studies major myself, I'm just curious if you could list one initiative that you have for our college.
So what I was really wanting to focus on is because we were, because of COVID, we were online for a lot of things. So when I first got to UCF, I didn't even know that there was a downtown campus. And then at orientation, they said, hey, you're going to be downtown. And I had moved next to main campus. So I think that really kind of trying to spread the word on main campus and downtown is good to help, kids in our major learn more about the things that are going on, like mock trial and the mediation team, things that I feel like unless you're following them on social media, and even then you really might not hear about a lot of events that they're doing.
Harrell?
Hi, thanks for coming in today. Sorry about my voice, I'm a little sick, but I was just curious, what is one thing that you've seen in Senate specifically that you would like to improve or change to better benefit students of UCF or Senate as a whole?
So I am not extremely familiar with student government. I have been doing my research into it as of lately, but prior to this year, I really hadn't had the time. So I really haven't seen a lot of what student government does. I am also on the downtown campus, so I'm almost never on this campus. So a lot of the things that student government does, I feel happens on the main campus rather than downtown. And that's something that I'd kind of like to move from and bring more events and information to the downtown campus.
Any other questions? Chair Holmes?
Since you live on the downtown campus, near the downtown campus?
No,
you do.
I live here, but I am there every day for work and school.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
All right, Senator Moll?
Present and voting.
So noted at 7:17 p.m. Any other questions for the candidate? Parmar?
So you talked about homeless people and how we can help students. So how do you have any initiatives if how the UCF student community can help the general overall Orlando homeless people in any way? Do you have thought about it or anything like that?
I have tried to think about it. It is kind of a hard topic to kind of deal with. But one thing that I was thinking is, yes, the tuition is free, but I think that if we are aware that there is a student who is struggling with homelessness, a lot of them are sleeping in their cars, couch surfing, things like that. I think that either finding a very reduced, maybe dorm room downtown or at the main campus, depending on where they, their classes are located, would be something that would be really beneficial. So, even if it's not giving them the room for free, if it's a, very subsidized or some kind of way to help them so that they can be in school if they need to work or complete internships and, not have the stress of where they're going to sleep every night, because that is just going to make their schoolwork be the least important thing to them.
Any other questions for the candidate? If not, I'll take a motion. Moll?
Move to go to debate.
There's been a motion to go to debate. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we're now in debate. Salerno, Holmes, Sabula.
I put my mic on before you finish, sorry. So I will be voting in favor of this candidate and I encourage you all to do so. This candidate has mentioned intentionality behind their initiatives. Obviously, you see a passion, a little bit biased because they're probably going to join SBA, so yay. But I think that they're going to make an incredible senator and I'm really, really looking forward to their initiatives. I'm already getting so many ideas on how to help the student body. So I encourage you all to vote in favor.
Chair Holmes?
Yeah, I'm going to echo these sentiments. This candidate seems to be very excited to be here and to want to get started. And it brings I feel like they're going to bring a very fresh perspective here to student government. So I'm excited. I hope you all vote in favor of this candidate. And that's all from me. Thank you.
Chair Sabula?
Hi, so I don't know if y'all saw me make a face, but I was actually in mock trial. So when she mentioned it, I kind of freaked out for a moment because I did mock trial in high school. But besides that, I think it's really great that she has some initiatives for homeless students because our houseless students, that's just really great. Sorry, but I'm definitely going to be voting in favor and I encourage you all to do the same.
Any dissenting opinions? Seeing none, Chair Gell?
Move to vote on the confirmation of Caitlin Capozzi for the College of Community Innovation and Education, Senate Seat 1.
There's been a motion to vote on the confirmation of Caitlin Capozzi for the College of Community Innovation and Education, Senate Seat 1. Any objections? Seeing none, we're now in voting procedures. With a vote count of 34 to 0 to 0, congratulations, Senator Capozzi.
Thank you, guys.
Chair Gell?
We will now be seeing the confirmation of Aaron Brenner for undeclared Senate Seat 1.
Great. Aaron, you'll have 5 minutes when you're ready.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Aaron Brenner. I am a rising sophomore here at UCF, and I am currently an undeclared major. Although I am undecided, I have enjoyed the challenge of studying various subjects, and I am still exploring what I am most passionate about, such as the sciences and humanities. Coming from South African parents, I was unable to rely on them for guidance in the American university system. So being all on my own and having to find my own path in college has been incredibly rewarding. At UCF, I feel that I am in control of my own fate, and I have enjoyed the challenge and responsibility of being an independent thinker. Being an empathetic person, I care deeply about people's thoughts and opinions, and I believe that empathy is an important tool to have in the Senate, as I am able to hear both sides of an argument without being biased. I can ensure that individual student voices are brought and heard in the Senate. Since coming to UCF, I have been involved in numerous activities, including the UCF club tennis team, the judicial board of my fraternity, and I have also been extremely active with UCF Chabad and UCF Hillel. The reason I am here in front of everyone today is because being in the Student Government Senate provides me with the several responsibilities that I know are important. It helps me explore my interests in many different fields, such as the sciences, business, engineering, and the arts. And as a student that is still undecided about my career path, I know that I can help my fellow students that are in a similar situation. There's often pressure from family members as well as oneself to pick a major. I feel that I can definitely help those students who are in the same situation, and I look forward to this exciting challenge. My proposal, if I were to be confirmed into the Senate, is to create an easier access to work opportunities, such as physician shadowing, business internships, and even professor shadowing. I believe I can help undecided students explore their passions. I know that in such a big student body, it can be very difficult to have a student's voice heard. So another proposal I have is to have a more effective and convenient way for students to communicate with their assigned senator, whether that be through Outlook, messages, or GroupMe. Environmental issues are important to me as well. I want to accomplish a way to help students learn about the UCF Arboretum and how to effectively help keep the UCF environment safe. Thank you so much for this amazing opportunity.
We're now aligned for questioning. Or we'll go Parmar, Costas, Salerno.
Hi, congratulations. You had some very good points. I have a lot of questions, but I'll just ask one. You talked about how a senator should be unbiased. Could you give an example in your life when you were unbiased in your own?
Yeah, so in my fraternity, I am a member of the judicial board where there's only like 10 members. And one of my good friends actually had a hearing, and I was unbiased in the fact that I actually decided like against him. So I was unbiased, and being that he was one of my good friends, I had a vote that he had to have a punishment.
Costas?
Yeah, I heard you discuss your concern for the environment and some initiatives that you have. Do you have any more like concrete ideas in regards to what you might want to do with your power as a senator in regards to environmental justice?
So the power I would have as a senator is I would definitely use social media to my advantage. I don't think like social media at UCF is talking about environmental issues that much. So I'd really want to put that in the social media pages and on Instagram and Facebook, and to show all the UCF students about the environmental issues and how to get involved and help keeping the environment safe.
Salerno?
Hi. So I have heard from a lot of prospective students that are planning to come into UCF ask questions of what if I don't know what major to choose, or what if I don't know what to study? Part of being an immigrant and also first gen is kind of discovering yourself in a collegiate environment. How would you promote having an undecided major to those new students that are coming in and are worried and face the same struggles that you did?
So I would personally just tell them that it's not something to be afraid of, to be undecided. It is scary. It's scary going into college and not knowing what you want to do, because all your friends are telling you, I want to be a doctor, I want to go into business. So it's scary, but I would tell them it's nothing to be afraid of. It's actually a good thing, because in college, like college is there for someone to explore passions and what they want to go into. And I know that the Conference Registration and Travel Committee in the Senate is like an opportunity for me to tell undecided students, go on these go travel and find what you're passionate about, find what you're looking for. So
Any other questions for the candidate? If not, I'll take a motion. Spalding?
Move to go to debate.
There's been a motion to go to debate. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we're now in debate. Borges?
Yeah, so I might be a little biased, but I love that he wants to be in CRT. We are here just to fund students to go. We had students tell us they got jobs through CRT. He has the right idea of CRT. I'll be voting in favor.
Any other debate? Anderson?
This candidate is very well spoken, very concise and understanding of what he wants to do. So I really appreciate that, and I would be voting in favor of him.
Are there any dissenting opinions? Seeing none, Chair Gell?
Move to vote on the confirmation of Aaron Brenner for undeclared Senate seat 1.
There's been a motion to vote on the confirmation of Aaron Brenner for the undeclared Senate seat 1. Any objections? Seeing none, we're now in voting procedures. With a vote count of 34 to 0, congratulations, Senator Brenner.
thank you so much.
All right, internal legislation, notice of legislation on first reading, constitutional amendments, constitutional amendment 5401, updates the title to Article 2 of the legislative branch. Chair Borges is hereby remanded to LJR. Constitutional Amendment 5402, updates to Article 2, the legislative branch by Chair Borges is hereby remanded to LJR. Constitutional Amendment 5403, updates to Article 3, the executive branch by Chair Borges is hereby remanded to LJR. Bills, Internal Bill 5418, updates to Title 13 by Chair Borges is hereby remanded to LJR. Internal Bill 5416, updates to Title 9, removing office supplies by Chair Borges is hereby remanded to LJR. Internal Bill 5417, updates to Title 6, the election statutes by Chair Borges is hereby remanded to ENA. Internal Bill 5418, updates to Title 7, establishing backups for a vacancy in the Senate graduate position by Chair Borges is hereby remanded to LJR. Resolutions done, proclamations, Proclamation 5412, proclamation recognizing August 2022 as Black Business Month by the Black Caucus is hereby remanded to SBA. Notice of legislation on third reading, constitutional amendments done, bills, Internal Bill 5412, updates to Title II by the LJR Committee. Is there a motion for 5-minute speeches, 15-minute questioning, 15-minute debate? Any objections? Seeing none, LJR.
All right, I'll make this super short since it's third reading. This is just clearing up some inconsistencies in Title II and removing supermajority and just leaving 2/3 as it's what's most commonly used in statutes. I'll yield to questioning.
We're now in line for questioning. There are no questions. I'll take a motion. Sarah,
Move to debate.
there's been a motion to go to debate. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we're down to debate. Temple, then McClellan.
Yeah, this bill, I'm just going to keep this brief. This bill is very good, very concise, does its job. I encourage all my fellow senators to vote on this bill. Or vote favorably, sorry.
May I retain?
You may.
Yeah, so basically this bill is just going to be finishing work left unfinished in the past. We have all talked about it. It's good stuff. I encourage you all to vote for it. And with that, I move to vote.
There's been a motion to vote on Internal Bill 5412. Any objections? Seeing none, we're now in voting procedures. With a vote count of 31 to 0, Internal Bill 5412 passes favorably on third reading. Internal Bill 5413, updates to Title IV, Vice Chair McClellan. 5 minutes when you're ready.
Hello again, everybody. So nothing has changed since last week. I'll just read the bill again, adding an M section to 402.1, reading as the Attorney General may, through an opinion, acknowledge the invalid filing of a censure or impeachment or any such document or decision and make it void. An invalid filing includes only procedural errors. And with that, I'll yield to questioning.
We're now in line for questioning. And once again, if there are no questions, I'll take a motion. Temple,
Move to debate.
there's been a motion to go to debate. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we're now in debate. Chair Hall?
Yeah, no, Vice Chair McClellan answered all the questions last week. I think, like we said last week, this is a good compromise based off of this issue, and I think that we should pass it.
Any Palmer?
Speaker, am I allowed to ask question during debate to my fellow senators?
You can direct a question to an individual if you would like to.
Mr. McClellan, since I wasn't here during this bill's reading, could you give me a general idea of what the bill is about?
Yeah, sure. So basically, this is just clarifying a gray space in the statutes. There was confusion earlier this session about whether or not the opinion of an attorney general could make a, in the specific instance of what happened earlier, a censure invalid or void the censure due to improper filing and procedural errors. And there was confusion on that. So I wrote legislation to clear that up in the statutes so that there's no longer a gray space.
Any other debate? If not, I'll take a motion. Foster?
Move the vote.
There's been a motion to vote on Internal Bill 5413. Any objections? Seeing none, we're now in voting procedures. With a vote count of 34 to 0 to 1, Internal Bill 5413 passes favorably on third reading. Resolutions none, special acts none, notice of legislation on second reading, constitutional amendments none, bills. Internal Bill 5414 updates to Title 8, updates to CRT spending policy. Chair Borges, 5 minutes when you're ready.
Thank you. Sorry about all the legislation, guys. So it kind of goes over what we talked about recently in committee. So you guys really weren't there, so I'll kind of give you a rundown. We had people come in requesting membership fees separate from like the registration fee. So this bill kind of helps us out. We don't have that much money. We're gonna run out of money pretty much. And this gives us the ability to not fund those separate membership fees. In addition to that, I believe Brody mentioned that the business office does not want to fund those fees. In addition to that, if you look, it also gives CRT the ability to PPI bills when the RSO does not show up. Before we didn't have that ability, and then adds to the registration definition the word primary to kind of put in that we can only fund the direct registration cost for that conference. And I yield the questioning.
We're now online for questioning. If there are no questions, I'll take a motion. Salerno.
In 816.3 subsection K, it says lodging within 50 miles of the student's home campus without vice president or provost approval. Earlier this session, we saw that provost approval is needed. Specifically with the vice president, is the vice president of student government, or could you clarify that?
It would be from the provost, like a university provost, someone in their office. If that clarified, unless I'm misunderstanding your question.
Salerno.
Sorry, it's just a point of clarification. Why did it say vice president before and now provost?
I'm not sure why it said vice president or provost before, but we use provost. So I just took out vice president and now it's provost.
Any other questions, Farmer?
In 816.3 subsection F, lodging for individual education, requesting a divided portion of the total lodging bill. So if the individual has a conference they have to attend and they ask for a divided lodging with the Senate, is that not allowed?
No. So when it comes to this, let's say someone wants lodging. Say two people want to go to a conference, one person requests an allocation and they get funding for a hotel. The next person cannot also get funding for that same hotel if they're staying together. So like we can't use two separate ones to pay for one hotel room. When it comes to business office, they kind of have to pay it in full. They can't like pay half of it from one person, half of it from another person. So that's been something that we've had in there.
Any other questions? If not, I'll take a motion. McClellan.
Move to debate.
There's been a motion to go to debate. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we're now in debate. Costas, then Foster.
Yeah, I haven't been too invested in fiscal since I joined Senate, but after reading the bill that's been proposed, I think it simplifies and chips down some of the problems that may have existed within some fiscal committees like CRT. And I think Chair Borges did a good job of organizing the bill and clarifying like where things can be made to be more efficient. So I encourage you all to vote in favor.
Senator Foster.
I would like to echo the sentiments of Senator Costas. I also really like how Chair Borges added to close the loophole of RSOs being able to request that their membership fees be covered by CRT. So I will also be voting in favor, and I encourage everybody else to as well.
Patel.
I also agree with Foster. Usually when you join an RSO, you pay your membership fee and they use those fees to pay their national chapter dues. But if they're using CRT funds to pay that, I feel it's kind of unfair and they're taking advantage of the loophole. So I think we should vote yes on this bill.
Are there any dissenting opinions? Seeing none, I'll take a motion. Temple.
Move to vote on Internal Bill 5414.
There's been a motion to vote on Internal Bill 5414. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we're now voting procedures. With a vote count of 35 to 0, Internal Bill 5414 passes favorably on second reading. Resolutions, Resolution 5405, resolution advocating for strict gun law reform in the state of Florida. Vice Chair Almanar, 5 minutes when you're ready.
I sent Brody email just Yes, please.
Senator Capozzi?
Present and voting.
So noted at 7:39 PM.
All right. So before I submitted this piece of legislation in to be seen, it was advised to me and others that we should do a poll in the student body. So before I start my speech on it, I was going to share with the Senate body the results of the poll. So if you go to the next slide, please. So the general information, the survey lasted 1 week from June 24th, 2022 to July 1st, 2022, and there was 347 responses. So for the first question asked, it asked, is gun violence an issue? 311 people agreed, 32 disagreed, and 4 preferred not to answer. The next question was, should the University of Florida should advocate for gun reform? 264 students agreed, 75 disagreed, 8 preferred not to answer. The next question was, have you or someone you've known been affected by gun violence? 199 people said yes, 148 people said no. The next question is, I am worried that I or someone I know could be affected by gun violence. 270 people agreed, 71 people disagreed, and then 6 preferred not to answer. And then the next question was, in general, do you feel that the laws covering the sale of firearms should be made less strict, kept as is, or more strict? 46% said less strict, 31 said kept as is, 269 people said more strict, and 0 preferred not to answer. This next section were a multiple of measures, possible measures for gun reform that was asked. So what type of gun reform would you like to see the University of Central Florida advocate? 82.7% responded with mental health resources, 76.9% responded with expanding background checks, 66% expanded with banning assault weapons, 63.7% responded with creating background checks on ammunition, 63.4% responded with expanding the current 3-day wait period to purchase firearms, 61.7% responded with prohibiting the sale of firearms between private parties, and 55.6% responded with banning 3D printed guns. And then on the next slide, it shows some responses that I compiled that were in the other section that people wrote in themselves. So some of them were allowing campus carry, allowing professors and staff to carry after training, and then raising the minimum age for purchasing firearms. Now, discussing the resolution itself, I wrote this as a response for the Uvalde shooting that happened, and then subsequently more shootings have still happened. There was a scare in Orlando that was really scary, but I see this resolution as a way for us to do something. No, it doesn't matter how small it may seem that this is, that a student government resolution about firearm may seem, but it's something. It's more than doing nothing. And a lot of work went into this, not just from me, from other senators have also contributed to this. I've reached out to different elected officials, from school board members to state representatives to statewide elected officials. And they have given me feedback, and they have also agreed with the sentiments of the resolution. I yield my time for questioning.
Great, we're now in line for questioning. Colin, Richard, Tesha.
Hello, I appreciate all the work you put in, ahead of this bill. Question I have is, you have a lot of whereas clauses about like statistics of people wanting to, like, background checks and stuff like that. Do you have anything that proves or supports that any of these, in the therefore be it resolved, any of these reforms would help the problem that we have currently?
So for the therefore be it resolved, these are measures that are just the seemingly top of the list when it comes to the national discussion on gun reform. I don't think any of us here in this body can figure that issue out and figure out what measures are the right ones and what are not. But the measures that were chosen were ones that have been pulled throughout the nation many times and have been popular. And we won't know if they work unless we try them. Let's be real here.
All right, let's get some senators present and voting. Senator Brenner,
President voting.
so noted at 7:45 PM. Senator Heinzko,
Present.
so noted at 7:45 PM. Second question, McClellan.
So I guess my question was really, we've seen gun reform like stricter. And I'm asking if you have anything that proves that any of this stuff is like helping prevent the issue, or if the issue maybe isn't the specific guns themselves, or maybe it's a people issue and we have to think of it as a different approach.
Yes, so for a response to that question, we would have to look outside of the United States for these type of answers. If we look at a nation like Switzerland that has an extreme high amount of gun ownership, yet they have a very low amount of gun violence and gun death, is because they have extreme amount of restrictions on who can own a firearm, who can own ammunition, and what type of firearms that can be owned. Recently, if we look at the nation of Japan, unfortunately, they did have an assassination of their former prime minister, but that is one death in gun violence in who knows how long for that nation. And they have strict gun laws there to protect their people, individuals. The country of England also has very strict gun laws on who can own guns. Not even the police that patrol the streets in England are allowed to own firearms or are allowed to carry while they're patrolling. All across our modern world and Western nations, we see that nations agree and people across the world agree that that more strict gun laws do work. It's pretty telling that in a nation like Switzerland, where they have 8 million people, but they have a very extremely high rate of gun ownership per population. I don't have the statistics right in front of me, but that's where I would say to look for why these measures would work.
Richard?
How was the survey distributed?
The survey was distributed on our SG Instagram. Also, I asked our body to distribute it amongst RSOs and amongst individuals they felt would want to fill it out.
Tache,
May I ask 2 questions?
you may.
Okay, so first, the survey results came back saying that mental health resources were the #1 thing people wanted. I don't personally agree that that's the solution, but that was the #1 result of the poll. And from what I see, you didn't include that in the therefore be it resolved clause. Is there a reason for that?
That just slipped me. We could add that.
Okay. And then second, so I'm not very familiar with GAP resolutions because this is our first one since I've become a senator, but I know that in the last session, Senator Costas had one regarding abortion laws, but that was in reference to a specific piece of legislation that had been introduced in the state of Florida. Is there a reason you didn't wait till some legislation was filed to support actual legislation rather than just like writing about independent solutions that aren't even being introduced yet?
So every year in the Florida state legislature, it's not confirmed that it will happen this year, but it most likely will. A form of gun reform legislation is submitted, and it usually does die in committee before it gets debated on the floor. The reason I did this now and didn't wait was because we shouldn't wait on an issue like this. The more we wait on even discussing the issue, the more that individuals are at risk of losing their lives due to gun violence.
Tasha, third and final question.
Yeah, this was just a follow-up. Would you consider going through maybe like historical examples in the Florida State Legislature from the past few years, and in each thing you're referencing saying similar to this bill introduced this year by this representative? So it's like encouraging them to do it again rather than just, encouraging into the abyss.
Yeah, so I already went through previous pieces of legislation that have been submitted in the Florida State Legislature. I looked at the most recent one from last year, submitted by State Representative Carlos Guillermo Smith. And I used that as, I didn't directly take text from that for this resolution, but it was more of inspiration on the type of language to be used within this resolution.
All right, we're gonna go Senator Ochoa, then Senator Moult.
Hey, so I am from Brazil. I don't know if you guys know that, but the gun restrictions in Brazil are very, very, very strong, and people are most of the times not allowed to buy guns. However, the cases of homicide in Brazil is more than 5 times more than the US. For example, we have homicides caused because of gun violence in Brazil is 27.8 per 100,000 people, and in the US is 5 per 100,000 people. So my question is, have you taken a look in those countries, and how can you learn from those countries to make a measure that would work here?
So I have not looked at nations where they have severe gun violence. I only took a look at the ones that have less gun violence and why they have less gun violence. That would be a good thing to take a look at. For this discussion, can you repeat part of the question, the last part of your question, please? I'm sorry.
No, yeah, the question was just if you haven't taken a look into those nations, since there's a restriction on guns, to buy guns in nations like Brazil, but there's still a way higher homicide level. So it's just if you have checked or not.
Yeah, no, I have not checked in those nations.
Senator Moult.
Yeah, I was wondering by what metrics, well, not by what metrics because they're in there, but how did you decide upon the metrics by which you chose to define an assault weapon within this bill?
Can I yield to Vice Chair or to Chair Temple?
Chair Temple.
Yes, thank you, Vice Chair Almoner. So the definition of an assault weapon is laid out in the therefore be it resolved clause. Unfortunately, there is no well-defined term or well-defined definition for an assault weapon. So instead, I had to pull together different aspects that are common amongst some of the more prevalent assault weapons currently on the market right now in order to create some Frankenstein's monster definition. The anonymous chinchilla has it outlined. I just deleted it. So the actual definition I put together was that an assault weapon was considered to be a selective fire firearm capable of firing what are known as intermediate cartridges. I'm not going to get into specifics as to what an intermediate cartridge is, but all you need to know is it's a bridge between a proper rifle and a pistol cartridge. They possess high capacity magazines, typically more than 10 rounds per magazine. And they contain 2 additional attachments such as suppressors, underslung grenade launchers, scopes, bipods, and any other attachments that are outlined in the 1994 federal assault weapons ban. And I yield back to Vice Chair Almoner.
Thank you, Ethan.
All right, we've got 5 minutes left in questioning. Senator Farmer.
So do you have any plans to build upon this bill once new information comes in? Let's assume that the bill has been passed and the reforms have been made, but based on the new information in the future, do you plan on making any changes to these bills?
So currently the Florida legislature is not in session. So by the time this bill would get to its 3rd reading and signed, I don't envision the Florida legislature going into a special session on the issue of gun violence. If they do, and if they do implement stricter gun reform, this resolution not to say it wouldn't matter, but like there wouldn't be a need for this resolution. But I do not envision the Florida legislator picking up a special session in the next week or so.
Any other questions? If not, I'll take a motion. Foster,
Move to debate.
there's been a motion to go to debate. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we're now in debate. All right, we're gonna go Holmes, Costas, McClellan, Foster, Salcedo to start.
I think this is a beautifully written piece of legislation. There's a lot of research here backing from actual government officials. I see some RSOs on here as well. The fact that there is research of the senator's own on here speaks volumes about how important it is to them. And regarding to, different countries that have stricter laws and they're not implemented, that could be because their government, I believe that could be because their government is ran differently or public finances, things like that from my own research. But I think that regarding the US and how we deal with things, this will help this will help with advocacy with what students think should be implemented. And I think that we can do something in the future when the session does come up and put this in our initiatives and agendas to advocate on students' behalf. So I will be voting in favor of this, and I encourage you all to do the same.
Senator Costas.
Yeah, I think this is an important bill. I think the country is very scared right now. I have a neighbor who was at Lake Eola on July 4th with his mom, and tons of people confused fireworks with gunshots and started jumping into the lake. And he was terrified. And his mom, who flew here from Nigeria, was also terrified, which sucks. He flew all that way and had to experience that. And there were also 2 other shootings that actually did happen on that night. So I do think this is an important bill. But I will say I do want to see some more actions taken than just passing it and advocating for it. Maybe we could meet with people like President Cartwright or some of the people that you listed and the be it further resolved clause on the bottom to make sure that these therefore be it resolved clauses can go through and the voice of UCF can mean something.
Senator or Vice Chair McClellan.
So I'm going to be arguing against this resolution for a few reasons. The first, I do want to mention that when you're looking at other countries that have strict gun laws, but they have also like reduced gun violence through it, the United States of America is an extremely unique country. We are extremely diverse. We have so many different cultural factors and socioeconomic factors that play into things that other countries don't have to deal with, like Japan and Sweden that you mentioned. They don't have to deal with some of the obstacles that we face. They're more homogenous. And onto the actual bill, I do not believe that if this resolution were to pass, and even if this resolution passed and then got to the Florida legislator and then somehow they passed, which the author himself said is unlikely, to pass stricter gun reform, I do not believe that this would help the actual problem at hand. I do also point out an issue about the assault weapon term. It is not really well defined, and it's not something that, like, if you were to just hear the term assault weapon, you would think a weapon that you could use for assault. And then there's a lot of definitions that you can look up and read, of all the varying different ones. And some of them even include, if you think about it, include handguns. And there's just no real set definition. It's very iffy. The expanding of mental health resources is something I would support. I believe that the issue is not so much a gun issue as it is a people issue, because it takes a certain kind of deranged individual to go out and commit the atrocities and tragedies that we have experienced recently and historically. So with that, I'm just going to say that I will be voting against this bill, and I encourage you all to vote the same.
Senator Foster.
Okay, I think I want to start by saying I would like to echo the sentiments of Senator Costas. I think this bill is really well written. I could tell that Vice Chair Almanar did a lot of research going into it, sponsored by RSOs at UCF. So it's really obvious that a lot of different organizations on campus do feel that something has to change, and that this is a really pressing issue for students here at the school. Has some state representatives on it. I think the most important on it is Orange County School Board member, because the school shooting was probably the one that kind of sparked this conversation to come up again. So I think the fact that a school board member signed on this is like really important to me. And I can agree that, you know, maybe we don't have all the answers. Maybe stricter gun laws isn't the right answer to fixing this problem that we face every day. However, I think it's a step in the right direction. And if it doesn't work, we can try something else. I think it's better to at least attempt to try to do something. And if it fails, we can try something else. So I really like the attempt. And also, I want to remind everybody, this is on second reading. So if we don't like something about it, we can all talk about it, get together, work on it, get it on third reading and pass it through if that's what we decide to do. So I'll be voting in favor for it. And I also hope everybody else does as well.
Salcedo.
I will also be voting in favor of this piece of legislation. I really appreciate that the senator took into consideration our concerns about the lack of student voices and how that wasn't considered, but the survey was released and we saw the results. And I think after putting those results into the legislation to more accurately represent our students' concerns, then I would be much more for it. So yeah, I encourage the rest of the Senate to do the same as well.
All right, we're gonna go Caldwell, Borges, then we'll take care of some amendments on the dock.
Okay, I'd like to preface this by saying, obviously, I support the nature of this resolution. I think it's really important in what it's trying to do. I think it lacks a little bit in the actionability I'd like to see, and I look forward to seeing what, if any, changes are done to address that. But I'd like to also recognize that some of the argumentation we've heard against this bill tonight is inherently racist in its origin, implying that the ethnic homogeneity of a country is what defines its issues is not only racist, but something explicitly promoted by white supremacist groups and not something we should be hearing on the Senate floor.
All right, let's make sure to maintain some decorum for those who are on Zoom. All right, Borges.
Thank you. Yes, I was also like YOLO when that scare happened. So that wasn't fun. Worst 4th of July kind of ever. But when it comes to this resolution, I had concerns with it as it was something that could be seen as partisan. And as a senator, we have to vote with the interest of our constituents in mind. So I advised Vice Chair Almanar to do a poll. Sorry how long it took to get this resolution to happen. But he worked really hard on it, and other SG agents worked really hard on it. They did an amazing job. As a result of these statistics and with the inclusion of tonight's amendments, I will have no choice but to vote in favor, as my vote is bound to my students' interests, and we are all held to that.
Senator Moore.
Move to see my amendment on the dock.
There's been a motion to see Senator Moll's amendments. Any objections? Seeing none, it's seen. Any debate on that? If not, Senator Moll.
Yeah, so I just went ahead and introduced that amendment because as we've talked about a little bit tonight, the definition of an assault weapon is kind of nebulous and there's not really a good set definition. In addition, I think that all of the other things that are called for by this resolution are very good. They're very substantiated by the evidence and studies that have been done on what effective gun control looks like. However, banning assault weapons, I think by having that in there sort of takes away from the credibility and takes away from the being based in fact that a lot of the other proposals in this resolution have. Additionally, this isn't debate on the amendment, but while I'm debating, I think that there's also a lot more that can be added in here that would stand in for an assault weapons ban that would be more substantiated and that quite frankly need to be in a bill like this if we're advocating for things that actually work.
Chair Temple.
Yeah, so I'm going to actually debate in favor of this amendment, even though I was the person who initially defined assault weapons, because I completely agree with the sentiment that the term assault weapon was in itself is a very nebulous term. Like I spent almost 2 hours trying to research what an assault weapon was, and I poured endlessly over the original 1994 federal assault weapons ban bill that introduced a loose definition to the term. And even I found that to be very not what's the term? Not nearly as palatable for many people. And I agree with the sentiment of Vice Chair McClellan that assault weapon can apply to various different weapons, including handguns. There are certain handguns that carry 20 rounds in them and can fire intermediate cartridges. So like there are plenty of holes to be made. So like removing this definition from this bill at the very least is a good step. But I need it is up to us in order to determine what an assault weapon is to be defined as if we have to advocate for such a ban on behalf of our constituents. And with that, I yield back.
All right, we've got about 4.5 minutes left. So any dissenting debate on the amendment? If not, I'll take a motion on the amendment. Mole?
Move to vote.
There's been a motion to vote on the amendment. Any objections? Seeing none, we're now in voting procedures on Senator Mole's amendment. With a vote count of 35 to 1-0, Senator Mole's amendment passes. Chair Temple, your amendment?
Yes, move to see mine and Senator Costas' amendment as a block.
There's been a motion to see Chair Temple's and Senator Costas' amendment as a block. Any objections? Seeing none, I'll take that as general consent. They'll be seen as a block. We're now in debate on that block of amendments. Any debate on the block of amendments? Chair Holmes?
I'm going to encourage y'all to vote in favor of this block of amendments. We discussed, the expanding mental health resources, and the Senator Vice Chair Almanar agreed to that. And I'm going to vote in favor of adding the UCF president as well. So that's it.
Tashay?
So I know that I was the one who brought up the concern regarding it not including the mental health resources portion of it, but I do hope that we would take a little more time to expand on what that means, other than just like 5 words that are kind of vague. Like I know there's not a lot of time because like I just pointed that out like a little bit ago, but hopefully by 3rd reading or something, we could have something a little more descriptive on what that's actually calling for.
Any other debate on the amendment? Chair Hall?
I think the amendments should be passed. I agree with Senator Teche that I think we can expand on that in the future, but better to at least have that right now. And then more speaking specifically to Senator Costas' amendment, this was something that I brought up in my capacity as GAP chair when we saw it, at least the question of why there was not really any UCF based people that this would be sent to or dealt with. I think that President Cartwright's definitely a start. I would encourage the sponsor between now and next week to maybe consider other entities at UCF that this can be sent to, because yes, we can send it to the Florida legislature and all these people. I'm gonna be frank, don't know if they'll ever open it, but I do know that people at UCF will. So should this resolution pass, I think it would be encouraging to show UCF administrative leadership and whatnot the opinion of the Senate.
Senator Mole, would you like to propose a friendly amendment?
Yes.
All right, Senators Temple and Costas, do you accept the friendly amendment?
I accept the friendly amendment, Madam Speaker.
So Senator Mole's addition will now be seen in the block of amendments. Any other debate on the block of amendments? Foster?
Yeah, really quickly, I just want to say that I 100% agree with Chair Hall. I think it's really good to send it to the Florida legislature as well as like UCF President Cartwright. But there's a lot of people at the university other than Cartwright who can do more for this bill because he's really busy. So there's a lot of different vice presidents that we could send it to. And I'm willing to sit down with Vice Chair Almanar, anybody else who's willing, and we can like kind of sort it out and decide who we want to send it to.
Any other debate on that? If not, I'll take a motion. Chair Holmes?
Move to vote on the block of amendments.
There's been a motion to vote on the block of amendments. Any objections? Seeing none, we're now voting procedures. With a vote count of 36 to 0 to 1, the block of amendments passes, and the allotted time for debate has elapsed. We're now in voting procedures on the resolution. Also, please only vote if you are a sitting senator. This is the wrong poll. With a vote count of 32 to 4 to 2, Resolution 5405 passes favorably on second reading. Senator Spalding.
In the best interest of time, I move to go to miscellaneous business.
Not going to see that motion just because we're very close to getting there. Senator Huerta.
Well, I was gonna do something similar, but I was gonna move to table the resolution that's next. But I mean, we don't have to.
There's been a motion to table Resolution 5406. Any objections? Seeing none, I'll take that as general consent. It's tabled. Proclamations none, special acts none, Senate forum. All right, Chair Salerno.
I just wanted to do a brief shout out to SBA and specifically the members of SBA that have taken on specific tasks within the committee, and then overall sending out love to all of my committee. Appreciate y'all.
Chair Patel.
Good evening, Senate. In yesterday's CRT meeting, we had Toro Coco coaster cookies from Chile. They were basically a layer of coconut cream sandwich between two Nilla biscuits. Senator Becerra said they were good and tasted like coconut vanilla. Senator Hurl said they were good, but smelled bad. Senator Richard didn't have any, but liked my ASMR. Senator Wanjan said they were good, but smelled better than they tasted, and Chair Borges liked them, while Chair Millington thought they were quite exquisite. On the other hand, I really like the consistency of the biscuit combined with it being soft and dry. For the layer of cream, I felt that it was too sweet. They added too much sugar to the point it drowned out the taste of the coconut. Combined with the cream, the texture of the biscuit melted in my mouth in a satisfying manner. I really liked it, like it indulged in my mouth. But unfortunately, there was no authentic taste of coconut, therefore I did not approve of them.
Robbins.
Good evening, y'all. This week we had 3 new members join ORS officially, which was awesome. This time last year, it seemed we had weddings, more renditions of Ethan's memes, hikes, Jeremiah's treats, and best of all, the broken closet of Chair Borges. We're still very eager to gain more members, so please consider.
Almanar.
I just wanted to go out and say that we shouldn't be accusing senators of being racist on the floor. I think that's wholly inappropriate. If you have problems with senators, just bring it up with them and have that discussion privately or with somebody coordinating that discussion, but it is wholly inappropriate to bring something like that up.
Sarah?
Vice Chair Almanar took exactly what I wanted to say. It's inappropriate, please. Like, I know that we all have differences, we all have different points of views, and I understand that, but let's not start labeling people like crazy, especially right here where it's public and everyone can start seeing us. They can judge us by looking at us right now. And another thing is, let's show some respect in the sense that, you know, the pro temp elections are like right now. So there's going to be 3 losers and 1 winner. Let's accept whatever happens, and business is business. Whatever happens personally outside of the Senate stays outside because we're here to do work.
All right, Tashi.
So the first thing I wanted to say was Happy International Non-Binary Peoples Day. Just wanted to give that a shout out. And then the second thing is based off of just a previous conversation that just happened. I think it's probably more inappropriate to be racist on the Senate floor than to call someone out for it. That's all.
All right, Chair Hall.
Yeah, on unrelated note to that, I did just want to thank everyone in the chamber who reached out to me this past weekend. I did express in the Senate-wide chat about the passing of my grandfather. So I do appreciate those of you who did reach out, and just know that I saw it, even if some of my responses might have just been very like, thank you. I did appreciate it, and just kind of speaking more widely, you know, it's hard anytime you lose somebody, especially somebody that is family. And so all I would encourage everyone is that if there are people in your lives, particularly those who are older or those who are sicker or whatever it might be, just give them a call. I was very thankful to be able to call my grandfather about 4 weeks ago for his birthday and see him at my sister's wedding. He lived in Kentucky. So it was very nice to see that, and that kind of helped give me a little bit of closure about it. But you know, if there's that person you're like, man, I should call them, you won't regret it. Thank you.
Senator Moe.
Yeah, I just wanted to echo Senator Tashay's opinions. I think it's more of a disgrace to allow racist speech to happen on the Senate floor than to point it out and make a scene, because sometimes it's okay to make a scene.
Anyone else for Senate Forum? Borges?
Well, any Senate forum, we only have about an hour left. Let's continue.
All right, Yamachili.
I would just like to say that I think senators should refrain from highly inflammatory rhetoric in general that does not serve the students' interests. There are people outside this chamber who are actually watching this live stream, and they have opinions on what we do as senators. And I think that the conduct of this body has to be better than it is right now. Thank you.
Senator Palmer.
I just wanted to give a shout out to all of you guys. For me personally, I think all of you are amazing. All senators are amazing people who want to give back to the student community. So since this is my first time, I think it was kind of interesting seeing all the back and forth. So I think we are here for a professional reason to help our students. So let's not point fingers and blame each other all the time, and be professional here. Thank you.
Anyone else for Senate Forum? Seeing none, Senate deliberations. Anyone wishing to enter a period of deliberation? Seeing none. Chair Gill.
Yeah, so, I was going to talk for Senate deliberation. Is that okay?
Yep, that's all right. Before we start, I'm going to quickly yield to Chair Hall because Chair Solano bought me a venti pink drink and I don't get bathroom breaks. So we have the timer going. All you have to do is call on people until I get back.
Alrighty, that was unprompted. So, all right, we have entered a period of Senate deliberation. Chair Gill.
Yeah, hi, Chair Hall, thank you. I wanted to enter this conversation or have a conversation regarding pro temp elections, or more specifically, just two of the nominations, Senator Wanjin and Senator Borges. After looking through the public records and looking through the timestamps of everything, I think that this position of pro tempore is a position that we need to really take into consideration, like pro tempore Cerisi had talked about before she left. And looking through those public records requests, I was really unsatisfied with how biased Senator Patel, Senator Wanjin, and Senator Borges were acting. And you can see in the timestamps, I went through the ENA minutes, you could see that Senator Wanjin was texting Senator Borges specifically as when about executive cabinet member Brandon Greenaway about how I voted. I looked at the timestamps. It matched. It showed ethical concerns of them trying to interfere with a no confidence vote. Coupled with that, we've seen kind of their behavior on the floor. There was an investigation on Senator Wanja now. Not only that, just a lot of people have expressed sentiments, different sentiments of how they felt, as well as Senator Borges. Just we've seen him kind of attack, in my perspective, what I believe attacking some of the executive members. And honestly, we as a body, we uphold the pillars of UCF, integrity being one of them. We uphold Title 11 ethical standards. These senators have continuously broken that, and you can see them continuously targeting myself. And if it can happen to me, it can happen to anybody. And so honestly, I don't even think they should be considered for this position, considering that we could censure them and no confidence them. However, I don't want to do that. I don't want to waste any more of the body's time. I think it's kind of ridiculous to the point where we've gotten with all of this. I just think that if we allow this behavior, which we saw through the records request, we're enabling that behavior, one, enabling a lack of integrity. We're not withholding the UCF creed at the bare minimum. And I think we really need to consider removing them from pro temp elections, because I do not think that they represent the body fully. And I just wanted to hear, and I just wanted to say that honestly, because I think it would be really, really silly of us to allow them to run in something where they're supposed to be unbiased and they're supposed to lead our body in that way. And despite everything, I don't want to censure them or no confidence them. I think that they can grow in these positions, but I don't think allowing them to be in high leadership positions and enabling their behavior thus far and the targeting that they have done should be allowed in this body. And so, I just wanted to go into a time of deliberation on that.
I will yield back the chair to Speaker Custis.
We're in deliberation. Sabila?
This feels like debate and we're in Senate deliberations. I'm really confused and I don't really find this necessary. We have a lot to, we have a lot to see tonight. So I feel like this could have been brought up in pro temp elections that we have to do.
That was probably a bad time for me to step out. We already started deliberation. So we're in our period of deliberation, but if y'all would prefer to move forward. Borges?
I'm just gonna say thank you for bringing up concerns, and I implore anyone who wants to censure or no confidence me to do it. I have no issue with it.
Uriah?
We don't have to go the full 20 minutes, right? We can just move on. Okay.
Tashay?
I'm just gonna speak against what Chair Borges just said. Please, no one continue to no confidence and censure each other. Get over yourselves. And I respect what Daisy's doing by just saying, like, I don't want to waste anyone's time and I want to settle the issue here. I'm fine with that. But I mean, unless someone's like being egregious, like there's a reason that like 15 senators have quit since we've started the session a couple months ago. Like people are sick of it. So please don't listen to that encouragement.
Anyone else for Senate deliberation, or else before we move on? Patel?
I just want to make a quick point responding to what Senator Gill said. She said I implored biases during ENA. I just want to make, if my memory serves me correct, during questioning, I didn't ask a single question. During debate, I didn't debate in favor or against the no confidence. In fact, I remember that I abstained from this. I stayed out of it because I knew it was going to get messy, and I don't know how I got dragged into this. So
let's avoid going back and forth on something that we're going to see in the next like 5 minutes, but Sabila, then go.
Can I make a motion? Pardon?
Go ahead.
Can I make a motion to move to miscellaneous business reinstatements?
Just reinstatements?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear that.
Just reinstatements?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that again, please?
So you want to move to miscellaneous business only for the reinstatement?
Yes.
There's been a motion to move to miscellaneous business for the purpose of the reinstatement of Kevin Martinez. Any objections? Salerno,
I object.
do you withdraw?
No.
All right, we're in pro con. Pros for the objection, Salerno, 60 seconds.
Yeah, so I think that there is a specific order of the agenda. If we're going to go to miscellaneous business, we should go into elections. I respect the sentiments of Senator Sabula, sorry, Chair Sabula, with the reinstatement of Senator Martinez, since he has been through the entire meeting. However, we're almost at miscellaneous business. I think we should just keep going so that we can get through pro temp elections and get through the night so that we can have a team, because we're already lacking senators. We don't need to be lacking our admin.
Sabula, 1 minute.
So we've moved around the agenda before. I don't think this is an issue. He's been waiting all meeting, and this will make sure we don't have any like loose ends to tie up before pro temp elections. And Chair Salerno said that we need more senators, so it'd be really great to have more senators right now by reinstating or by going through the reinstatement process. Thank you.
All right, we're now on voting procedures. 4 is for the objection, which is Chair Salerno. Against is for the con, Chair Sabula, and then you can abstain as well. With a vote count of 16 to 12 to 8, the motion does not pass. We're still in Senate deliberations. Anyone wishing to speak during Senate deliberations? Almanar,
Move to miscellaneous business.
there's been a motion to go to miscellaneous business. Any objections? Costas, do you objection?
Just a quick question to you, if I
Do
may.
you- Do you withdraw? Costas?
If Senator Martinez is not reinstated, could he still be able to speak on the matters?
No. Almanar,
Motion to go to miscellaneous business.
there's been a motion to go to miscellaneous business. Any objections? Seeing none, we're there. Miscellaneous business, resignations, no resignations that I know of. Elections. Is there a motion to open up FAO nominations? Senator Heinzko, do you accept the nomination?
Yes.
Right. Anyone else wishing to be nominated? Is there a motion to close nominations? Is there a motion to open up? Oh, is there a motion to open up FAO elections? All those in favor? All those against? All those abstaining? Congratulations, Senator Heinzko, you are on FAO. CRT, is there a motion to open up CRT nominations? Senator Brenner, do you accept the nomination?
Yes.
Anyone else wishing to be nominated? Is there a motion to close nominations? Is there a motion to open up CRT elections? All those in favor? All those against? All those abstaining? Congratulations, Senator Brenner, you are on CRT. Is there a motion to open up ENA nominations? Chair Salcedo, do you accept the nomination? All right, anyone else wishing to be on ENA? Is there a motion to close nominations? Is there a motion to open up ENA elections? All those in favor? All those against? All those abstaining? Congratulations, Chair Salcedo, you are on ENA. Right, is there a motion to open up pro tempore nominations? Is there anyone wishing to be nominated, make a nomination, or rescind their nomination? Is there a motion to close pro tempore nominations? Any objections?
I object.
Great. Teshay,
Gonna give this one last shot. I nominate Chair Temple.
Chair Temple, do you accept?
I respectfully decline, Madam Chair.
All right, Sir Costas,
Can I move to postpone the pro tempore elections? And I know that might not be what you guys want to hear, but I promise I can make a case.
we're not going to do like a statutorily, we're supposed to see it this week. All right, any more nominations, Mole?
I'd like to nominate Deeser Foster.
Senator Foster, do you accept the nomination?
I'll accept.
All right, anyone else wishing to make a nomination? Is there a motion to close nominations? Is there a motion to open up pro tempore elections? All right, well, this is a lot more difficult because we have 4 seats up here. All right, so if the 5 of y'all could come up here, we'll have 2 people here, 2 people here. Someone at the podium.
Emma, I think you should have to get up your seat.
Yeah, sure. The one that controls everything in this room. What was that? Like for me to move it back?
No, them. I can stand. I don't mind.
Oh, hold on. All right, hold on. Everyone, decorum. All right. We'll see. Urea and Salcedo, can you move to this side over here? And then actually we'll have the 5 of you sit in a line over there. Netta, you can come back here. Is there a motion for 7-minute speeches, 20-minute questioning, 20-minute debate? Any objections to that? Seeing none, I'll take that as general consent. We're going to go in order that they're listed on the agenda. Senator Wanjin, you will be going first, 7 minutes when you're ready.
Okay, should I wait until everyone gets settled?
Up to you. Whenever you're ready.
Hi, everyone. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Katrina Wanjin. I wish y'all could see me a little bit better, but I am sitting down. I'd love to be your new Senate President Pro Tempore. I'm sure most of you know at least some of my background in relation to this position, but I'm going to go into it a little bit more anyways. Next slide, please. I do not have the clicker. Of course, I have been the Deputy Pro Tempore of Legislative Affairs from the time I was confirmed back in May up until last week, and I was also unofficially acting as the Pro Tempore for the last 2 weeks that I sat as D-Leg. Thank you. I was also elected Finance Office Vice Chair during my time as Pro Temp Rep on that committee, so I'd be very comfortable sitting on that committee once again as Pro Temp. Before that, I was the ORS Chair back at the beginning of the session, and in the last session, I was the 53rd ORS Vice Chair and the ENA Chair. During the 53rd session, I also sat on the ANSF Budget Committee, which is a very important aspect of this position. During my time as D-Leg, I did gain a lot of experience within the Office of the Pro Tempore, and I have become very comfortable with the legislative process specifically. I facilitated communication between Senate and the ANSF Business Office by organizing several meetings to help fiscal leadership with the transition to Workday. I've also been very involved in the leadership meetings run by the Pro Temp's office, specifically caucus and fiscal leadership, which I did chair for my last 2 weeks as D-Leg, as well as on a few other occasions. I also have experience on every single committee, having been Pro Temp Rep on all of them at some point or another, and having been a resource for legislation related to many, if not all of them as well. So that's my background, which is awesome, but it doesn't mean a whole lot if there's not initiatives to go along with it. My first set of initiatives is all about working directly with the committees and caucuses we have in Senate. I think it's really important that the Office of the Pro Tempore is in constant communication with all of leadership and Senate, as they are supposed to be a resource for the body. And scheduling regular one-on-ones with all of the chairs is something I think could really help that. One of the things I'd really like to cover in those one-on-ones is any expectations for legislation that the leadership of the committees have in order to be able to best communicate that to Senate as a whole. In regards to committees and caucuses, one of their biggest issues that they face year after year is their leadership changes. There are a couple of proactive measures I'd really like to take to make those transitions a lot smoother and just keep everyone more on top of things. The first of these measures is a written record of each committee or caucus's work. This is something I discussed a lot with Brody and the old ENA committee in relation to the Election Commission, since those transitions tend to be even messier and less prepared for than ours. If every committee and caucus writes down all the sort of stuff that they're doing and what they accomplished throughout the entire year, it both provides a written record of all the great work that Senate's doing for us to look back on, and it creates a record for our future leadership to look back on and use as a guide. I'd also like to create a year-long checklist for each committee and caucus to lay out the things that they want to get done, as well as the things that they have to get done throughout the year. To me, the most important part of this checklist would be deadlines for anything required by statutes in order to ensure that we don't realize last minute that ENA still needs to reapportion the Senate seats, that ORS still needs to review Title VIII, or anything else along those lines. My next group of initiatives is all about education. As part of the Pro Temp's office, I worked on several workshops, particularly the legislation workshop that I had the pleasure of running a couple times, a fiscal workshop to teach everyone a little bit more about that side of Senate, and a minute-taking workshop for anyone interested in learning, vice chair or not. Another workshop I really want to have put on is a sunshine law workshop, so that all of Senate can better understand our vague, ominous threat of Florida laws. If possible, I'd really like to also have this put on by an actual expert like a UCF attorney or member of general counsel, rather than just another student. These next two initiatives go really hand in hand. I really want to improve the new Senate orientation by reviewing the old ones and just generally making it more engaging. I would love to create a Senate web course for all of our senators, new and old, to be able to easily refresh themselves on Senate basics and have a centralized place to easily just find a lot of information about all the different aspects of Senate. If a web course isn't feasible, I plan to do the same sort of thing with the Pro Tempore office folder on the Google Drive to have that same central place with a lot of resources and information for all of Senate. My final initiative for this section is one that pertains to Senate a little bit less, but it's something fiscal leadership has been talking about since the middle of last session and that RSOs have asked for on multiple occasions, which is bringing back in-person financial training. This would allow RSOs and individuals to ask more questions to the presenter and retain the information better than what our current system does. Having the option of an in-person training as well as the digital option is also helpful for people with various disabilities. Moving on, as Senate President Pro Tempore, I would be running the office of the Pro Tempore and acting in the position of a sort of branch head, which is what all of this next initiative group is about. One of the biggest things I'd love to work on with whoever the next Speaker of the Senate is the legislative branch budget request. Budget request packets won't be coming out until at latest November, but that doesn't mean we can't start to get an idea of what that request should look like now. And I think it's pretty obvious how passionate I am about fiscal and the budget. More related to the Pro Temp's office as a whole, I'd really like to establish office hours for every member of the office, as well as have each member set up a rolling Calendly so everyone's accessible and available to all of Senate. I'd also like to establish an anonymous Pro Temp's office feedback form like the one I had as DLEG, where senators would be able to provide feedback on the office as a whole or on specific members of the office in order to constantly be hearing your guys' thoughts and adjusting to the needs of the Senate body. My final initiative in this category is to have at least one member present for any meeting about major changes to our governing documents. Finally, I would have specific things that I would have the deputies do in their positions. For the DSER, I'd really like them to redo the RSO email template for fall, adding more information than just fiscal, since we do so much more than
90
that.
seconds remaining.
And definitely getting feedback from committee and caucus chairs about any information they'd like distributed. I'd also really like them to encourage senators to reach out to their RSOs and just generally be more participatory with them, possibly by changing the involvement tracker to focus mainly on RSO involvement, though I'm definitely open to feedback on that. The DSER should also be working with judicial and specifically the External Assistant Chief Justice to get our Senate more involved with their RSO outreach, as well as meeting with the senator on the agency and department strategic planning board to keep track of what's going on with the various agencies and departments and just build a better relationship with them. In regards to the DLEG position, I'd like them to continue communicating consistently with the ANSF business office, especially with the difficulty they've been having with the workday transition and trying to figure out how that affects Senate. I'd also like the DLEG to communicate with the caucuses more, to be more aware of the issues that they are working on, and just generally be a better resource for the caucuses to accomplish their goals. Finally, I'd like them to work closely with the Attorney General on keeping statutes updated and making recommended and necessary changes through legislation, likely by meeting with them fairly frequently. Thank you all for listening to me today, and I hope you can consider me for your next Senate President Pro Tempore. I yield my time.
Chair Bohr has 7 minutes when you're ready.
Do you mind if I go up there?
You may.
Brody, if you can do the thing. Can we start the time when he has it up? Okay, thank you. Good enough. That's fun. You can start it. So, hey guys, hey besties, I guess. My name is Tyler, and I want to be your next Senate President Pro Tempore. I don't have a slideshow. It's just this one singular slide. I didn't really want to create a slideshow or a speech. I felt like with everything that's been happening, a flashy PowerPoint or a long-winded speech is not necessary because of everyone's concerns over how the last Pro Temp's office turned out. I do think it's beneficial to go over my initiatives though, so I'll straight up just read them word for word in front of you guys. It's also linked to my name in the agenda. So here goes reading until the time runs out.
I would create and send a memorandum to the entire Senate with concurrence of the Speaker, of course, concerning decorum. It'll help everyone understand decorum and gives the Sergeant at Arms a guide. I'll assist all committee and caucus chairs with their attendance policy memorandums to their committees. Everyone should be able to understand what their attendance policies are in their committees and caucuses. I'd worked with the DLEG to create folders to put in the Pro Tem's office folder with all legislation from the archives. If you guys didn't know, we have a Senate archives. So all changes to Title VIII or spending policies will be there for CRTFO, ORS, for the comptroller. All changes to Title VI or memorandums of reapportionment would be there for the ENA. All changes to other titles be accessible to LJR, and of course, they'd be accessible to everyone. Anyone who may need these, including the Attorney General or anyone else. I want to create better new Senate orientations. They're kind of bland, kind of boring. I'd like to spice them up a little bit. It's kind of cool. I want it to have accessibility features as well. I feel like they don't have many. And recording it, of course, you can refer back to it anytime you need. Also look into making it a web course because a web course seems so much easier. Anyone can refer back to it when they need to. I'd also like to make Senate orientations for SG agents of other branches because a lot of them don't know anything about Senate. A lot of them don't know how to access our drive. And if we can be like, hey, you're a new justice, here's what Senate can do for you. Here's how Senate can interact. Here's our caucuses you should join. I'd also like to start recognizing senators through the Senator Hall of Fame, where every session, 4 senators will be inducted. I'll be open to reassigning RSOs. I know a lot of you are unhappy about your RSOs that you got. And having another email from another SG agent might remind them, hey, you have funding available. I have witnessed the Pro Tem's office from the outside and would work to have more transparency. Anyone wants to CC them on any of my emails, I'm okay with that. In my report to Senate, I can give anything you guys wish as well. No public records requests needed. In addition, I saw issues with accountability where the pro temp had to rely on her deputies a lot, especially when attending committees. And then if deputies can go, no one showed up. I believe that should never happen. If I have to, I'll go to all 7 committees and even caucuses if you want me to show up. I will censure a non-compliance anyone upon request from any senator, no matter how big or small. If you guys have an issue, I would do that. The same goes for motion of confidence. I understand there's issues with these, but I will protect all senators in all cases. When it comes to non-compliances and censures, as you all have seen, I'm not afraid to question other members, including the student body president. You can trust that I'll ensure accountability and checks and balances between branches. I want to enact procedures for investigations within the Pro Tem's office so everyone can be aware of exactly what's happening. Obviously, there was a lot of issues with this this investigation we had. I'll work with all chairs and vice chairs on transition binders immediately, as leadership is always changing and it can be helpful at all points throughout the year. A lot of leadership will also have the opportunity to basically, since we just started, have this knowledge that they had to learn really fast and put it in there. I feel like it's most essential at the beginning of your time. So doing it right now keeps it fresh in your minds. The DSER would work on the internal committees ones. The DLEG would work with the fiscal leadership to write theirs. And then the diversity and inclusion coordinator would help with caucuses. I would reopen both applications for DSER and DLEG. So anyone has the opportunity, no matter what, if they didn't want to apply the first time. I'll use my event planning experience as an event management major to help create fun events for senators, obviously with the speaker and the DSER, organize fun hangouts. I would create video instructions on how to write different types of legislation. I would have a forum where senators can specifically request legislation help. I'd work with every committee and caucus to create cheat sheets, just like I did for CRT. If you haven't seen it, you should look at it. And I'd also utilize the board actually inside the office to put committee goals up. As of right now, it's kind of empty, kind of embarrassing. I'd also serve as a mediator between any committee leadership and any other SG agents, departments, agencies, any university officials, of course, as necessary. As you guys know, I have a ton of random knowledge of statutes or printing legislation, and advising senators on legislation won't be an issue. And while I might not be available 24/7, I do lay awake at night thinking of Senate. So I know many of you gotten texts from me, like kind of equivalent of a "you up" text in Senate form. So if you text me at 2 a.m., I will probably respond. Between this session and last session, I've attended meetings from every committee and caucus at least once. I've also assisted the fiscal bills representation forum and currently serve as a fiscal chair. So I can, sit on the budget committee, sit on finance office, well, just as the pro temp has to. What else? DLEG initiatives, legislative one-on-ones. Come meet with your DLEG, write legislation. That's a fun time. Instructional videos, same with the Pro Temp initiative. I would continue the DLEG feedback form. I would continue to set up meetings with business office as it is statutorily required for the DLEG. Something I've been working on that I will give to the DLEG is actually a fiscal bill representation form. Shout out to Chair Salcedo and Senator Podier for giving me some feedback so I can create a good one. I'd find a way to fix the bill generator because it's currently broken. Continue to update the advocacy legislation, especially for SBA that was created by former DLEG Wanjin. I would assist this leadership in any way they need, of course, and then help fiscal chairs updating the master trackers with the fiscal bills. So of course, if I don't have a DLEG or DSER, I'll be doing all of these, but if my DSER and DLEG would be given these. these are initiatives, work with the ELA to make a Senate this week email that people can subscribe to.
90 seconds
Go into the
remaining.
bigger RSOs, GBMs, and bringing fiscal leadership along to promote funding. Work with the chief of staff to make sure Senate gets filled. And then they should be meeting with every student director, every department director, so they can begin communications. Tons of tabling. They should be tabling at least once a week. And then revamp the mentor mentee program. A lot of you guys aren't meeting with each other. I think there should be some incentives. We can figure that out. And of course, work with the ILA to make sure SGLCers want to be in Senate. Not a lot of us who are in here are from SGLC, but I want even more. And of course, work with the agencies and OSI to have senators show up and table at all of their bigger events. And I yield my time.
McClellan, 7 minutes. You are all welcome to come up here when you speak, if you choose to do so.
Get the thing.
Alrighty, good evening, everybody. My name is Ryan McClellan. For those of you that are unaware, I would like to run and give my little speech on why you should elect me for Senate President Pro Tempore. About me and just Senate and UCF in general and stuff. College of Business seat 5. I'm the vice chair of the LJR committee, and I'm a member of the FAO committee. I'm a management major, a marching knights trumpet player, as some of you may have noticed. And some qualities I think that are going to be very relevant to this position is diligence. I think not just being determined, but also caring how the job is done. I want to do a good job, not just a job. Being quick to learn. I'm not the most knowledgeable on everything that goes on with pro temp, seeing as there's like this in the statutes, you know, that's only the tip. That's only the tip of the iceberg. You have to do so much. You have to be quick to learn things. And I'm going to be very, very try to be quick to learn. Always willing to help. I always try to be willing to help. I hope if anybody has any interactions with me, they've gotten that feeling from me that if you ask for anything, I will try to do my best to help, or if I can't be the one to help, directed to whoever can. And then being just respectful. I think that a lot of things that we've seen in this Senate session so far is just, we got to respect each other. And I think that having that going forward as like one of the main things that we're always doing is also very important. Okay, yes. Trustworthy leadership. I think that is a huge initiative that I think everybody would like to see going forward with the Pro Temp's office. Like I mentioned, being helpful to anybody if you come up to me with anything and I can't do anything myself to help you, I will always try to be able to direct you to whoever can. I want to be available so that people can come to me. Being in the office, having office hours, both on Zoom if need be, or in person. I'll try to be here at least in person a lot. Transparency. I'm going to try to make sure that there's anything that would I be okay with this being known to everybody? If it's a no, don't do it. That's just something you don't do. Good rule of thumb. Being straightforward. If there's anything, I want to make sure that I'm not just going around the bushes. I want to make sure that everybody has, I think it's one of the things to respect somebody. If you respect somebody, you will just be straightforward with them. You're not going to try to lie or do anything like that. And accountability, not just holding myself accountable, not just holding the other deputies that would be accountable, but being held accountable by others. I would be obviously open, as everybody should be, to just having people tell you, hey, you know what, this is something that I have an issue with, and hearing them out and getting through that. Being effective and efficient, getting straight to work. There's a lot of things that need to be done. The position has been empty for a week, and there's a lot of stuff. So things like setting up Senate orientation for our new senators, and for continuing to do that as we get even new senators within 10 days. By the time we're finished electing a pro temp, a certain number of days has already passed for senators elected last Thursday of the 10 academic days that needs to be done within. Opening out applications for deputy positions and then catching up and making up for lost time, like I mentioned, are all very big things. And to be able to hit the ground running, I think is also very important. All right, working together, always being open for one-on-ones, whether it's a scheduled one-on-one or a knock on the door, always wanting to be open, working closely with the deputies. They're in the office of the pro temp, obviously, but communicating with them consistently, making sure that it's not just things are not just thrown at them, but even if I were to have things that I would like them to work on, working with them with that. Helping with legislation brainstorming. We all are here to do something or would like to be able to do something. I know sometimes senators have a great idea, but they really don't know how to go about that idea. So just being open to help and be like, okay, well, if this is your idea, maybe this is how you can do it and go about that. Statutes crash course. I think that it would benefit everybody to know how we actually do things and how we work. I know there's sometimes some confusion and stuff. So I'd like to have a statutes crash course where we can all just understand what the statutes are saying to be able to better fix them if they need to, or to add or remove or anything of that source. And then just being a resource for Senate with all the things that I've mentioned and beyond. All right, that's the last one. And yeah, with that, I will yield the rest of my time. Thank you very much.
Almanar, 7 minutes.
This is on. Okay. Good evening, Senate. I'm standing here today running for the Senate President Pro Tempore position. So a bit about me, who I am. So I was born and raised here in Orlando, Florida. I am Venezuelan and Dominican. My parents are both immigrants who immigrated here in the 90s. I originally went to Valencia Community College, where I earned my AA in General Studies, and then I transferred here to UCF in the spring of 2021. I transferred in the middle of COVID times when campus was dead and there was nothing going on and classes weren't in full swing yet. I am a political science major and just recently changed my minor to anthropology. Some personal information about myself. My hobbies are enjoying film. My favorite film is La La Land. I love to travel when I can. And I'm a really big soccer person. My team is Orlando City. All right, so some outside that relates to my major specifically is I was a legislative intern for State Representative Ana V. Escamani, where I focused on constituent services and research. I was an organizing fellow for People Power for Florida, an organization that some of you probably already know about that focuses on voter registration. And I have volunteered in many organizations and campaigns around Central Florida. Some more UCF related experience is that I'm currently on the exec board for my RSO, serving as political director for college Democrats at UCF. I participated at UCF Day at the Capitol 2022, where I was first brought up the opportunity to join student government. I was elected into the 54th Student Body Senate this past spring, and I currently am the ENA Elections and Appointments Vice Chair, a position that demands a lot of unbiasedness in nature, and I also sit on GAP. So why do I want to run for this position? Firstly, to uphold the UCF creed of integrity, scholarship, community, creativity, and excellence. To keep ethical integrity within our legislative body, and to expand our student body advocacy. I also want to grow and challenge myself as a person and take on the responsibilities and duties of the pro temp position. I also want to continue student government's path of leaving a positive impact on the community. So what are the responsibilities and duties of the pro tempore? First of all, it's assigning registered student organizations proportionally among the student body Senate, be a member of all the Senate committees, appoint at most 2 deputy pro tempores, schedule and verify all newly elected officials or newly elected senators have attended their Senate orientation and are fiscally trained within 10 days of being sworn in, and notifying senators when in non-compliance.
So what could you expect from me if you elected me to be the Senate pro tempore? One, I'd have an open door policy. I'll always be available to help. There will be open communication between senators, the pro tem's office, and the rest of Senate. Improvement of branch relations. So our Senate initiatives, polls, announcements, and whatever we are working on at the time has support of the executive branch and judicial. And improvement of internal relations. A house divided against itself cannot stand. There are cracks in our body. No one can refute that. For the most part of the 54th session, we have spent time and time again squabbling amongst ourselves, issuing censures, public records requests, and votes of no confidence. For what? What good has come from any of this? The only thing that this has caused is infighting amongst ourselves. This has also driven people away from our body and student government as a whole. We have made people cry. We have made people feel lesser than. For drama that most of us don't know about nor care to know about. All the time spent plotting and scheming between each other should have been spent on student body advocacy and outreach. There's no logical reason for us to be acting this way. We are adults, we are leaders. We must act that way. I'll ask you to look inside yourselves and ask, why did you run in the first place? Why did you feel the need to get involved with student government? It was not for scandal nor for drama. What you can do for student government and the student body as a whole. I'll end with this, a quote from President Barack Obama. If you're walking down the right path and you're willing to keep on walking, eventually you'll make progress. That's it for me. I yield my time.
Foster, 7 minutes.
Good evening, Senate. To be completely honest with you and transparent, I did not expect to run for pro tem tonight, so I don't have a PowerPoint. However, I do have initiatives. To give you a little bit about myself, my name is Nick Foster. I just finished my first year of grad school. I am technically UCF alumni, as I did graduate here from last year, August 2021. I graduated with a bachelor's in human communication, a minor in political science, and I've been a sitting senator since January. I've wanted to join student government ever since I first transferred to UCF, but as I was not a first-time college student or a freshman when I came here, I found it really daunting and intimidating to be involved, and I wasn't even sure how to get involved. I just learned about SGLC about a year ago. Had I known about the program, I would have definitely been in it. But a little bit about my experience, I used to be the vice chair of the Black Caucus last session. I was the chair of ENA for a little bit, and I am the former DSER before former pro tempore Cerisi did end up resigning. I sit on PLC. I was the only person unanimously selected to sit on PLC. So I work with President Cartwright, Dr. Fram, and a lot of higher university administration. And one of my initiatives would be to be more of an ambassador for Senate and student government in general to that higher university administration. Along with PLC, I'm also an orientation leader, currently working 60 hours a week. However, my schedule will be completely different as of fall semester starting. We'll be working about 5 times that semester. So I'll be taking the time and using this Senate break that we have on July 28th to better prepare myself and get more mentally sharp should I get elected into this position. Also, I really want to work on inter-branch relations, kind of what Vice Chair Almanar said. Senate has been kind of a melting pot for a few months. So I think the most important thing out of all the initiatives that I've heard and that I want to do is to kind of build our relations back up to where we're more comfortable speaking with each other, whether it be in a mediated meeting with me and then two parties accused of something, or just other senators in general. I feel like if we're more comfortable with each other, we'll be able to get things done. And the reason why we are here is to get things done and advocate for the student body. Recently, as an orientation leader, I was also selected to sit on the Director's Council, where I will answer and advise the director of first year experience. I was selected to sit on that council because I have advocated for my coworkers, and I want to extend that advocacy to push harder for student government and UCF in general. I recently advocated for my coworkers to get a raise because we're severely underpaid and overworked. I spoke with Dr. Fran, and we were able to get a $700 raise to our paycheck. First time that's ever been done for orientation leaders. It was incredibly hard to do, but I was there to serve my orientation leaders just the same way I do want to serve you as a pro tempore. Also, I want to kind of streamline the onboarding process to student government in general. As an orientation leader, I've met a lot of people who want to know about student government and they want to talk about it. Had a lot of conversation with student government, and like based off what they did in high school, it's completely different to what UCF student government is with our budget. And I've talked to a lot of people when I would, if elected, I want to work with the ILA
and exec in general to kind of have more people in SGLC, because kind of what Chair Borges said, I think it's a really good opportunity for people to get in student government. I did not have the opportunity myself whenever I was confirmed as a senator, and I would love for everybody to be able to have the opportunity. They don't need to take the opportunity, but I would just love for the opportunity to be there. Again, what Vice Chair Almanar said, if elected, I do want to have an open door policy. If my office is vacant, you can use it. Just like shoot me a text or one of the deputies a text, be like, hey, I'm going to use your office. Cool with me. I want more transparency, more communication. I'm a communication major. So regarding just student government or just personal life in general, I want to get to know you on a personal level and talk to me. I want to have one-on-ones outside of student government, non-business related. I want to talk to you to see how you're doing, because sometimes this is mentally stressful. We argue on the floor and we don't even talk about it afterwards. I want to be more so of a friend, a friendly leader, to kind of delegate that responsibility to become more of an approachable face. And I think that the pro temp office is at its strongest whenever the people in there are like, they're transparent and they know how to work with everybody. Also, I want to lead by example. My leadership style is leading by example. I will never ask you to do anything that I would not want to do myself. So if elected into this position, we can kind of get started. I'm ready to hit the ground running and get started as soon as possible. I would like to use the rest of my time so we can answer questions and hear some debate.
We're now in line for questioning. The way this is going to work, when you ask a question, make it relevant to the position and make it a question everyone can answer. Anderson.
I would like to go ahead and start. As a student, I have a few concerns with views and relationships from everyone that sits. So I want to just ask how you're all willing to reflect on the way you've previously acted, as you're all given the opportunity to be slow and listen now.
All right, we're going to start in the order that's on the agenda. When you answer, please get to the point and answer the question that was asked. Wanjan.
So the investigation that was done into me as DLEG was about one improper facial expression during a committee meeting. I do acknowledge that I did act inappropriately in that one instance. I do think that that was something that I should have been called out for, and I was called out for during the meeting and during the recess of the meeting, and I really appreciated that from the senator who did call me out on it and that sort of thing. I do also think that some of the allegations of corruption about the pro temp's office have been a little bit, I'm not sure what the word is for it, but the implications that everyone in that office was corrupt are very misleading. When the pro temp made mistakes and that those mistakes were recognized, she resigned because of them. I do think that it's important to hold each other accountable, but I also do think it's important to give each other grace and to recognize that we are all human. And I think that is something that can be said about any of the candidates up here with me as well.
So yes, Senator Wanda brought up that. I don't really know exactly when it comes to me. I think you're referring to like the no confidence, if it helps at all. I did abstain because I did feel like there could have been personal biases that affected my vote. So yeah.
Could I get a repeat of the question, please?
Of course. So I just asked because I have a few concerns about everybody's viewpoints and relationships. So I just want to know how you're willing to reflect and do better now that you have the opportunity to react slow and listen to each other.
So reflection, I think, is an important part of being able to grow. You got to be able to look back after situations and see what went wrong, what went right, how you can improve. And it's always something that it's like, it's never done, you know? So I think always being able to reflect and to also, sometimes there's things that you don't even see yourself. So having people bring it up to you and being able to be somebody that people can bring things up to you and then learning from those situations, I think is very important. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, so to respond to your question, I think that everybody has the ability to recognize when a mistake is made and when they can grow past that. We are governed by our ethical statute, Title 11. So we all have to be unbiased no matter what the nature of the relationship may be. So that's where that conversation ends, essentially. We're statutorily required to be unbiased.
Personally, I would say let's have a conversation about it. If anyone's ever felt like I ever wronged them or I made a mistake, I'm all about accountability. Let's have a conversation about it. I'm willing to work, rebuild bridges. If I've ever burned a bridge down, I don't believe in burning bridges down. So I'm always open to conversation, whether mediated or you just want to talk to me, and let's fix everything.
Tache,
Can you all share all the RSOs you are currently involved with or have recently been involved with, as well as any potential conflicts of interest you may have in the position?
we'll start with Borges.
Yeah, so currently the only technical membership I have is with Honors Congress, but I actually do not attend their meetings or go to their events anymore. I'm only involved with SG related agencies.
If you're talking RSOs, then college Republicans.
I'm only involved with college Democrats at UCI.
I previously used to be the president of the Fencing Knights, so the Fencing Sports Club at UCF. However, I did resign from the club because I kind of wanted to focus solely on student government and other things such as PLC. So I'm not currently a member of any RSOs.
I am also technically involved in Honors Congress, though I do not really attend any of their meetings anymore. I'm also involved in Relay for Life because I had 2 friends with childhood cancer and I'm not willing to give that up. I also started recently attending meetings and became a member of the YDSA organization on campus.
I need hands to call on. All right, Yalma Chile.
When have you overcome a challenge and what have you learned from overcoming that challenge?
We'll start with McClellan.
Challenge. I guess I'll just pick a challenge that I've had. So in high school, I was in the upper leadership of my high school marching band program, and we were hosting a district-wide event. It was a marching band's musical performance assessment. So we had schools from all over our district coming to our school and performing on our field, and we, as the school hosting, were ushering bands through and such. And I was a shift coordinator for that time. So I was just making sure that all the people that were volunteering at things like water stations, they were people running for, there was just a bunch of odd tasks. I'll get to the point. And there was some conflict amongst these individuals that they had some issues with each other. And so I had to be able to, first of all, make sure that it didn't escalate because there was a scene in the making. So I made sure that we were able to not just step back, but there was people that I had to kind of divert from other places to make sure that, you know, operations weren't disrupted. And we had a talking and eventually had to go to the director. But the challenge was, at least we did not make a public scene in front of the entire district.
For me, a challenge that I had and overcame was when I was a sophomore in high school, I decided to try out for the track and field team. I went to all the practices before the tryouts happened, went to tryouts, and unfortunately didn't make the team. But after crying about it and calling my mom, I decided to just show up anyways and talk to the coach. He was my coach from my sophomore year, my junior year. Coach Malik, he was about 80 something years old. He's from Brooklyn and he coached Olympic athletes to just collegiate athletes. And I straight up told him, I was like, look, man, I just want to be able to be here and work out if possible and be at least some sort of individual on this team, on this family that he was making at my high school. And he gave me a shot put and let me throw it and it went nowhere. So I ended up running the 200 and the 100-meter races, and I ran in 4 meets and I was able to go to districts that year. Just being able to show up after being denied something and taking initiative to see and knock on the door again taught me that like not all doors are closed, even if they seem they are.
So what comes to mind is my most recent challenge that I overcame. So I haven't told a lot of people about this because I don't like to complain about anything unless I have a solution. So when I was hired as an orientation leader back in November, we went through a semester-long leadership class. So when I got hired in November, we were promised that we'd be working $11 an hour and 30 hours a week. So I applied because I was like, okay, I need a summer job. $11 an hour, it's not the best, but it's not terrible. So I took the job and we actually didn't find out until April. So almost like 6 months into being an orientation leader and the whole onboarding for the program that we're actually not getting $11 an hour and it's not 30 hours a week. We found out we'd be working over 40 hours and it's a stipend. So legally they can work us over 40 hours and we wouldn't get overtime. So people started to quit because of that. And we were also promised like free housing, but we also later found out that the housing was taken out of the stipend. So if you're off-campus employee, you're making more than people who decide to take the free housing as an on-campus employee. So orientation starts to roll around May. We had 2 weeks of very intense training and people started quitting even though they committed to the job because they're like, okay, well, they're not paying me as much as they said they would. However, I decided to stay because I made the commitment, even though we weren't getting paid a lot. And as a couple of weeks passed by, the fatigue from working 12-hour shifts with no breaks, it was really hard. We had a lot of debrief sessions where my coworkers were crying and talking about how much they wanted to quit the job, but they had to stay because they had bills to pay. And I felt really fatigued in this position too. And it was probably one of the hardest things that I've ever went through. So I kind of had to work with my supervisors, and then I was able to find a solution to not having breaks during the day. And I was able to get us a 20-minute break and a 40-minute break. So we have that on day one of orientations, and that's been helping out a lot. Also, we've had a lot of concerns of pay ever since April. So we actually recently got a pay raise like last week. So I was able to speak with the director and he couldn't do anything about it. So I decided to go up higher and talk to Dr. Frame. We had about an hour and a half conversation about orientation. And she was like, well, what needs do you want to be fixed? I was like, let me go back and ask my coworkers because I don't like making any decisions on my own. If I'm advocating for someone, I want everybody to be heard. So we had a conversation and a week later, we actually got a pay raise. And what I kind of learned from that is like, even though we kind of did unionize, all it took was just one person to kind of get the ball rolling and set things in motion. And I want everyone's opinion on like how to fix things. This is not a one-man show. It never has been for me. So I think learning to incorporate others when you're trying to work to find a solution is the best thing to do, because I wouldn't have ever been able to come to that decision or that solution all on my own. It was thanks to my coworkers.
So thank you for the question. I've definitely been someone to push boundaries and push to overcome the challenges around me my entire life. I grew up in Mississippi. I was the one girl on the football team there. That sort of thing. I've been pushing gender roles. I'm a woman in STEM. I moved across the entire country from, God, any family around me who I'm close to back in fall. I'm 2,500 miles away from anyone I've known my entire life. And that sort of thing was very difficult. I was a military kid, never really got to stick around in one place for very long, all that sort of thing. And then you'll notice I'm the only woman up here running for pro temp. So all of that sort of thing, it's definitely challenge after challenge. My migraines, I've been overcoming challenges my whole life. I think it's part of really what defines me as a person. I'm not someone to give up. I'm not someone to let things go. As far as like giving up on things, I won't back away from a challenge.
Because this is all public record, I'll try not to get too much into it. My first semester of college was really rough, from things about like bad roommates to extreme sickness to being sexually assaulted to many other things, losing relatives. It was horrible. I wanted to drop out. I wanted to, at certain points, do things that I don't want to do anymore. And being in student government is actually how I overcame that. The people here, especially Aile Huerta, former speaker, and Anobi, and a lot of you guys here, like I said, are the reasons like I was able to stay here, the reason I didn't drop out. I was here pretty much every day as an SGLCer. You guys are probably sick of me. And that's why, because I truly felt like this was the only place I could feel comfortable, and it really helped me overcome everything.
Sabila.
Hi, everyone. So how have you been involved with minority communities or advocated for minority communities? And that can mean anything like culturally, ethnically, gender, and sexuality, anything.
We'll start with Almanar.
So as a Hispanic man, I've been always I grew up in a minority, a large minority area in South Orange County, really close to Kissimmee. So I grew up around everybody spoke Spanish around me. As for how I've helped minorities, how I've worked with minority groups, it's through my experiences with working with a state representative. I was able to help a lot more people than I thought I would in that position throughout constituent services. 2020 was a really rough year. A lot of people not having jobs, not having work, not having income to pay for rent. So I've been able to help people be able to get rental assistance, and people who need rental assistance is more systematically skewed to minorities than it is the majority in this nation. And those are the people who really need it. Through my other experiences, I've also been able to help the LGBTQ plus minorities by showing up to Pride events and being there and helping them get resources. I've also been able to help. Recently, Roe v. Wade was overturned, and I've been able to assist others in organizing protests and marches for the past few weeks here in Central Florida on that issue. So I've done everything I can with my free time outside of student government, outside of my work at Target, to create platforms for minorities to stand upon and be able to spread and say what they need to be said.
Yeah, so I actually used to be a member of the BSU and the CSA, so Black Student Union and then Caribbean Student Association. However, I'm not a dues paying member anymore, but I do frequent their meetings and their Black Wednesdays. So I actually wanted to run for Mr. BSU. They actually asked me to run, but my goal was to be a senator in student government. So since I was doing that, I knew it was time consuming. So I ended up not running for the position. Also, Chair Holmes and I last session, we put on Melanating and Making History, which was a Black History Month event. And just seeing like the joy on people's faces, seeing that they were represented and that their voices were being heard, it was really nice. And we had a lot of people come out, a lot of turnout, bigger turnout than we expected. So I would hope to put on more things like that in the future. Also, last session, I sat on the Women's Caucus with Senator Costas and Chair Holmes. I went to, or not Chair Holmes, Chair Gale. I went to every meeting. I attended every event. I did the Women's Empowerment Conference. I did the brunch, and just sitting there and being able to hear stories from women, because I'm not a woman, and being able to sit and share their space was really enriching and really powerful to me, because I kind of wanted to learn how to advocate for them better. So I kind of want to continue doing that in the future. Also attending more LGBTQ plus events, as well as disability events, because I do think everybody deserves to have a seat at the table. And the unfortunate reality is that everybody does not have a seat at the table. So the people with the seats at the table are supposed to help people who don't have a seat at the table get to the table. So that's kind of what my goals are.
So I've worked with underserved communities a lot. My time in high school, I did a lot of work with the homeless shelters near me. It was something really close to me and really important to me. I did hundreds of hours of service with them. I did everything I could to educate myself, and then I tried to educate others. So people are not always the most open to being educated, especially about the homeless community, because of preconceived notions. Here in SG, I've done a lot of work with the Disability Caucus. Disabled communities are super underrepresented and underserved. And that's something that I think I've been able to make the impact that I'm most proud of outside of like the work I've done.
Because no one can hear us. Thank you. Maria.
And that's all.
All right, Costas.
Yeah, I think the candidates here are all qualified, but I'll be speaking highly in favor of Deeser Foster, or former Deeser Foster. I don't know. On a whim, he came together with great initiatives and an amazing speech that
I think stood out. I think because I've seen him ever since his first confirmation do so much work in Senate, especially with the work he has done for the orientation leaders, the work he helped out with Women's Caucus, and also my initiatives last semester. I know he's a fighter, and I know he will be here for all the senators and people that need him. And I know that he is an approachable face, and people will join student government if they see him as the pro temp. And I think he would be the best pro temp that we can elect.
Anderson.
I would go ahead and vote in favor of Deeser Foster. Deeser Foster has shown time and time again that he can overcome challenges, incredibly knowledgeable and extremely friendly. And those are aspects that we need in a pro temp.
All right, we're gonna go Tache, Spalding, Yalamanchelli to start.
I will also be speaking in favor of Senator Foster. Between his age and Senate experience, I think I have the most trust in his competence. I also think he's the easiest to work with and chillest candidate. By that, I mean, I think most of the candidates here take the Senate far too seriously and have too high of expectations that have almost driven me to quit, as well as driven many others to quit. Also, we stand a labor organizing king. More importantly than that, though, because between four of the candidates, I don't have a strong inkling towards anyone, but there's one candidate I don't think should be elected. That candidate is Ryan McClellan. Between his conflict of interest being in college Republicans, which has the most controversial funding bill every single year, the fact that he has described himself as respectful, yet many queer senators have told me that he makes them uncomfortable and that he has shared transphobic comments in Senate before. The fact that literally today he said a white supremacist talking point on the Senate floor. I also just think he's generally unqualified as this.
Senator Tache, keep it
Yeah.
respectful. Political affiliation is not consideration for a position, but you may continue.
Okay. And then finally, I also think that he's generally unqualified as this is his first session and he has never been above a vice chair. That is all.
All right, Spalding.
Okay, so last meeting, I was going to nominate Senator Foster, but I didn't because I don't know why. But that being said, I'm going to be speaking in favor of Senator Foster as well. I just feel like right now to see Speaker Custis and Nick Foster up there, just I don't know, just makes me feel a lot more confident in our body, and it makes me feel a lot more confident in what we can accomplish. So I'm going to be speaking in favor of Deeser Foster, and yeah.
Yalamanchelli.
Personally, I am torn between the two former occupants of the pro temp's deputy positions. I think both of them are very experienced people, Deeser Foster and Deleg Wanjan, and both of them have worked extremely hard. I've seen Deleg Wanjan put herself in many caucus meetings, many committee meetings. I'm sure that she has been in all of them at one point or another. Deeser Foster has approached Senate with an attitude of friendliness and honor, and I deeply respect that. And he has done his best to stay impartial and to stay unbiased, while at the same time recognizing that Senate needs to maintain an attitude of professionalism and decency and respect. And these are qualities that I highly admire. I will be voting for one of them. I am not sure who, but I highly recommend my fellow senators that you take into consideration the two former occupants of the pro temp's office. Thank you.
All right, we're gonna go Potier, Temple, Becerra to start.
Okay, so I'm gonna speak highly in favor of, I said speak, okay, my bad. I'm gonna vote highly in favor for Deeser Foster, only because, you know, he really is about that action. Like he went from raising one person's, you know, their check to a higher raise, and he's like, that's what I like. And honestly, out of all people, I feel like he's really like, if he says he's gonna do it, he's gonna do it. So I feel like y'all should do the same.
Temple.
So I'm going to echo the sentiments of Chair Yalamanchelli and say that I would love to put my backing behind one of the two former deputies pro tempore, because I've worked with both of these senators since the 53rd session, and in particular with Senator Wanjan long before. under SGLC. And I have seen them grow so magnificently well under not only the respective committees that they've raced through, but also in the pro tem's office. Say what you will about everything that's gone on with the pro tem's office. They put in the work, they put in the effort, and for as long as they were in their offices, they did extraordinarily well. Again, setting aside all the controversy and setting aside all of the drama that has gone on with the prior pro tem's office. Vesting the responsibilities and powers of the pro tempore is a very tricky situation and a very nuanced one that we all need to take into great consideration. And considering the initiatives that both Senators Wanjin and Foster have, and considering that their experience already as vice chairs, as committee chairs, as committee vice chairs, and then as the deputies pro tempore, that's a lot of experience in the scant 6 some odd months that they've been in Senate. So, or 7 months, I suppose. So I don't intend to filibuster this. We have not 6 minutes until we really need to get out of here. So I would say vote your conscience, but I would be backing either Senators Wanjin or Foster tonight.
All right, Becerra.
Yeah, I'll keep it short and sweet. I'm going to be in support of Senator Foster because I believe that on top of him having great experience and having great initiatives, I believe he also brings forth trust and transparency, and he's very approachable. He's always been open to lend a helping hand with myself, so I appreciate that, and I will be voting in favor.
All right, I'll take one more hand and then a motion because we got to vote and we got to do roll call. Harrell.
Hi, I'll make it quick. I honestly didn't know who I was going to be voting for at the beginning of this. I was kind of nervous about all candidates for many different reasons. I will say after hearing the sentiments of other senators, I will be speaking in favor of Senator Foster as well. There are some concerns of Senator Foster in Pro Tem's office, and I would love to get to know Foster and express those concerns to him because I know he will be willing to work on some of my concerns. And I have noticed that he does take criticism very well and adjusts to anything that people throw at him. So I will be voting in favor of Senator Foster.
I'll take a motion. Urea.
Motion to vote.
There's been a motion to vote. Any objections? Seeing none, we're now voting procedures. With a vote count of 6 to 0 to 3 to 1 to 27. Congratulations, Pro Tempore Foster. All right, let's keep it quick. All righty. Hereby appoint Senator Capozzi to SBA, reinstatement for Kevin Martinez. I'll read it into the minutes. It'll move to unfinished business because we're out of time. We're in miscellaneous business. I'll take a motion. Domino?
Motion to adjourn pending final roll call.
There's been a motion to adjourn pending final roll call. Any objections?
I do, kind of more like a question, if that's okay.
Do you withdraw?
Sure.
Spalding, make it quick because the union's closing. We got to be out of here.
Yeah. Okay. So, what are we able to reinstate Martinez next week since you didn't get to do it this week, or what? How is that working?
It was on the agenda. I read it into the minutes. It's just going to move to unfinished business.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Can I make a motion to adjourn pending final roll call?
Sure.
Okay. Move to adjourn pending final roll call.
There's been a motion to adjourn pending final roll call. Any objections? Seeing none. Jerry Rea.
Mole.
Here.
Podier.
Here.
Hira.
Here.
McClellan.
Present.
Millington.
Present.
Richard.
Present.
Temple.
Present.
Capozzi.
Present.
Caldwell.
Present, sorry.
Robbins,
Present.
Spalding,
Present.
Castillo,
Here,
Har-
here.
Present.
Wynn, Simcoe, Wanjin,
Here.
Domino,
Here.
Foster,
Present.
Galloway. Galloway. Custis,
Present.
Beaumont. Becerra,
Present.
Gell,
Present.
Yellowman Chili,
Present.
Samuel,
Present.
Heinskill, I'm so sorry. Demarla, Patel,
Here.
Uchoa,
Here.
Harrell,
Present.
Borges,
Here.
Almanar,
Present.
Anderson,
Present.
Castellan, Sabula,
Present.
Hall,
Here.
Holmes,
Present.
Huerta,
Present.
Costas,
Here.
Martin,
Present.
Salerno,
Present.
Saucedo,
Present.
Tache,
Here.
Brenner.
Here.
Right, hereby adjourn this meeting at 9:30 PM.